Good morning. Good morning. This is Charles Van Morgan. Welcome, the Charles Van Morgan Show. Got a great show for you today. As you can see, the icon is a pretty power icon. I'm proud of my children, as you all are of yours. If you don't have any children, that's all right too. I know if you have some, you're very proud of them. So we're going to talk about how our cities, our government agencies have fallen into the hands of invaders that don't have our interest. Our cities have fallen. Our government agencies have fallen into the hands of invaders by propaganda. We're going to talk about that this morning. I am Charles Van Morgan, and this is Unbridled News. We'll pop up any time of day. We usually film live every morning, starting anywhere from 5 to 6:45, sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier, depending on the circumstances. Charles Van Morgan, live in the morning this morning, talk about our cities have fallen. We have been invaded by the use of false propaganda. Propaganda is not bad. False propaganda is bad. Propaganda is putting out truthful information, can be truthful information to support your side, to support the truth, or it can be false. Propaganda can be false information put out to support lies. So we are putting out truthful information, and our cities have been invaded. Our government agencies have been taken over. Our cities have fallen from false propaganda. We're going to talk about that. It is the truth. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. I'm not bridled by the mainstream news media, by their lies. I'm not propped up by money and influence and power from the elite people who have caused our cities to fall, and they're being run for them. So Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Join me this morning. Here is the American flag that I love so much. So the Charles Van Morgan Show. Welcome. The title of the show this morning is Our Cities Have Fallen. Our cities have fallen. Our government agencies have been invaded. They're occupied by forces that do not represent our interests, my interests or your interests, the populist of the American people, the populist. Where I live in the state of Tennessee, our cities have been invaded. They're fallen to outside interests that don't represent American values. They don't represent the Constitution. That's what we're going to talk about today. They have been invaded by the use specifically of false propaganda. So we're gonna fight that. We're gonna put out truthful propaganda. Propaganda is not a bad thing. Propaganda is putting out your side. So today I'm gonna put out the side of the American people. I'm gonna put out your side because the news media puts a spin in favor of people in power, and they have caused our government agencies to fall completely in their hands, and they're run by people who serve their own interest. So I watched a show last night, and many people know the war in Ukraine. Now that's their business. That's not our war, I understand. But we can learn from what is happening over there in Ukraine. Because people are people no matter where you go. We're Americans. I'm American. America first. The people in America first. I'm a populist speaker. I speak for the populace, for the mass Tennesseans, for the mass Americans. Now these political candidates say they do. They know the lingo. They got the verbiage. They got the talking points. Oh, they got them down well. They do surveys and they know what's important to people. But they don't have the agenda, they don't have the life experience, and they don't have the proof to back up what they're saying. It's all propaganda, it's all lies. They lie to you to get in power, and they've lied good enough, they're real good at lying, a lot of lawyers in politics, to cause your city to fall completely into their hands. They're occupied by people that don't represent your interests. Government agencies are occupied by people that don't represent your interests whatsoever at all. They say they do. They breadcrumb you to get votes. They breadcrumb you to keep them in power. And if you make enough noise, they'll give you a little bit more. So we're making noise. We're going to put out truthful propaganda. And we have been doing this for a long time. And that's part of what works, is the sustained effort of putting out truth almost on a daily basis, as often to as many people as we can, to take our cities, take our government agencies, and put them in the populace favor, put them in your favor. It's your government, your will ought to fly. You shouldn't have to work to take care of the invaders, the people that are in government power as we speak, that would like to put me in jail. Again, not because I believe in violence like they do, because I believe in getting a truthful message out, in real truthful propaganda, telling people the truth. That will cause people to get up and go vote. There's more of us than them. That's what they fear. They fear the truth. They fear the truth because they know the truth will get them voted out. They have decimated our cities. They have decimated our government. They have decimated our way of life. They have trampled on the blood of soldiers that gave every individual person constitutional rights by their false propaganda. You can't believe a damn word they're saying. They do it with use of the news media. You see my screenshot there. There's a picture of me and my son and a newspaper clipping. And if you look at the newspaper clipping, they demonize me and my family and promoted a violent, dangerous criminal and had my picture. They put a hit out on me. They put a hit out on me because I stand for your public safety, health protection, and well-being. And they continue to do that to this day and continue to brand themselves as heroes when they're violent, dangerous people. They're invaders. They have invaded our country, much like Russia has invaded Ukraine. And they use propaganda to do it. They say what we're doing is right. Now, do you believe that it is right for a foreign country to invade the sovereignty of another country and take over their cities? In America, these elitists have invaded our government offices. They have invaded us. Our cities are falling completely into their hands. As I looked at that story in Ukraine, I began to think about how these cities are decimated. They had a bird's eye view of the cities, probably taken from a drone flying over one of the cities in Ukraine. And the houses and the high-rise apartment buildings were completely decimated. The windows busted out. You can see the blackness from the bombs and the missiles that have been fired at that country. And Ukrainians no longer live there. And they have even been able to overtake the Ukrainian soldiers. And Russia now has complete control over the decimation of some cities in Ukraine. They're occupied by Russian soldiers in those decimated cities. So there are cities that the population's not there. Ukrainian soldiers aren't there, but they're occupied by Russian soldiers that are sitting in those decimated cities, putting Russian flags down. They're in control of the decimation. And they're getting food drove in, and they have put a stake down on their cities after they've destroyed them. And I think about America and the cities in the state of Tennessee and the government agencies, our prosecutor's office, our judiciary agencies. They have decimated the populace. They've decimated you with their violence and their criminal acts. If the Geneva Convention were in effect, the things they've done are so horrific to people. And they have decimated, much like Ukraine, our government resources and our government offices. And they've done it in America with missiles called false propaganda. Make sure I don't fall down. Let's see how many people got in here. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to put out some truthful propaganda. And we've been doing this for a while, and we're not going away. We're here for the duration. And that's why they put out a hit on me. They'd like to see me killed. They'd like to see me killed. They don't put out a sign or put it in the newspaper, go kill Charles Van Morgan. They don't put that out. Go kill Charles Van Morgan and his family. They don't say that directly. That would be too obvious. Just like Russia's full of propaganda. They say that they have a right through their loops and hoops, and Putin says he has a right to Ukraine's land, a sovereign country. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. That's not true. But so he's going in by force and invading it, and also using propaganda. So they put a hit out on me. They don't say go kill Van. They put it propaganda. They put my picture on the front page of the paper. Claim I murdered somebody in a roundabout way. It's called false propaganda, making a violent criminal hero, a hero, and his family. But what about your family? What about your innocent family? What about you? That's what they will do, and that's how they have decimated us with false propaganda. We're going to put out some truth propaganda. They lie, and I tell the truth. Live on YouTube, 1.3 million people. Coming up on 1.4 million people. The truth has weight and value. People listen to it. Their lies have too many loops and hoops to get through. And if you think about them logically, it's like, no, that makes no sense at all. Where'd you get that from, this set of facts? A judge said that, yeah. A judge that's Vladimir Putin, that believes falsehoods and believes that he has a right to your country, believes that he has a right to your state, believes that you ought to be taking care of that rich billionaire. And we're going to untangle, put it in plain English, the propaganda that the state of Tennessee, people in government power, and they claim to be Christian. They're holding that Bible up. You know, I hold the Bible up, the holy word of God, the holy scripture that says it's tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. There's no errors in the Bible. I hold it up and then I put it down on the table, but I put it down on the table and I read it first. I read it and I look at it and I take it to heart. I take it to heart. As when I was a trooper, I had it in my left front pocket had a New Testament, my left front pocket above my heart. They claim to be Christian. They hold that Bible up. I open it up and read it to them. The part about don't bear false witness, don't bear false propaganda. The governor's full of false propaganda. Governor Bill Lee's full of false propaganda. He's full of the church. And people think that God's going to judge me for standing against false propaganda. I don't think so. I bear truthful witness. Truthful witness. Show you facts. So we're going to talk about our fallen country. It's fallen into the hands of Bill Lee, of Christian nationalists that are false, that never open up the Bible. I don't think. Now, I don't know his heart. I know he's a rogue man. I know he's full of filth. I know he's pretty crooked. I know how he's run the government's caused little children to die. That's the truth. That's not propaganda. It's the truth. He's closed down more hospitals per capita than any state in the United States of America. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to talk about what we can do about our fallen cities. We can recapture them. We can take them back and put these people in jail and run them out of our government offices, run them out of our cities, and get rid of them. And they're doing it through an enormous amount of ways. And the political landscape right now is getting to where things are getting so bad. They decimated this country so bad. They've caused so much harm and so much desolation. And people are going hungry, and the price of things is skyrocketing so much that they have raped this nation, this country, and continue to make laws that favor them and cause you trouble, that it's getting to where people on both sides of the aisle are saying, wait a minute, neither side is doing any good. So we have a lane to put out the truth. And I'm not talking about lying to anybody. I'm talking about holding true to the faith of the Lord Jesus Christ, of God, to bear truthful witness, not to bear false witness, to bear truthful witness. It's a truthful witness. I'm a truthful witness, Charles Van Morgan, with a cell phone and the truth. I don't have a fancy news channel with anchor people and fancy lights and all the war equipment to put out lies all day, 24/7. David didn't have a lot of equipment to fight the giant, but he knew how to do it. He had a rock and a sling. And I got a cell phone and something they ain't got, something Bill Lee doesn't have. He says he does, holds up that cross. I got something called the truth. The truth. That matters. It has weight and value, just like David's rock. It has weight and value, and we're throwing it. We're throwing it hard. We'll throw it every day. If you want to get on board, like, share, comment, subscribe, share the channel. The government hates the truth. It decimates them justifiably. If they don't like it, hold up the damn white flag and give up. Give up. Give up your lies. Stop bearing false witness, Bill Lee. Stop bearing false witness, Christian claimer, and his buddy, Bill Has-Been, who really runs the government. So we're going to bear truthful witness and continue to put out truthful propaganda. In Ukraine, they have decimated that country. And now what's happening is Ukraine, the government in Ukraine that's fighting this horrific invasion of their country that's affecting little children. It is so sad. It literally breaks my heart to see that kind of suffering from war anywhere it takes place. Anywhere. And I know I don't believe that's our war. I get that. I don't want American blood shed on foreign country fighting for foreign people's wars. That's their blood to shed for their own country. If they believe it's important enough, then that's what they'll do. I believe that this country is important enough to shed my blood for this country for the cause of freedom if it came to that. Now, that's not my choice, not what I want to do. But if I had to put myself in a position to fight and die for this country, for the freedoms, then this is my country. That's my flag I just showed you. Soldiers are honorable. They do the right thing. Then I would do that. I registered for the draft. Right now, it's not propaganda. You have people in America that are in public offices that don't have a birth certificate here, that do not have a selective service registration. Same age as me, pretty much. Could have registered for the draft. The only reason why they didn't register for the draft is they wasn't here. They wasn't in America. Or they weren't legal citizens. So if they'd registered, they'd have been deported because they came over here illegally. So let's see how many people got in here. Thank you all. We're going to talk about the fall of our government agencies into the hands of invaders by false propaganda and how they call good evil and evil good. That's what propaganda does. It lies to you, false propaganda. And that's what they've been doing. They've been lying. Are things going well for you? Let's see how many people got in here. So yeah, quite a few. Wow, thank y'all. Over 200 people. So our cities are falling. Our government's falling into the hands of invaders. Similar to Ukraine, our decimated cities are occupied by people like Bill Lee, by people in government power that are right now at this very moment trying to extrapolate even more money from you. The district attorneys in the state of Tennessee that prosecute people wrongfully, that lie, that commit perjury, that are much more harmful than the people they put in jail. Yeah, I said that unbridled news, Charles Van Morgan. I'm proud of telling the truth. I'm proud of standing up for right. People call me evil. Yeah, they call good evil, don't they? Does that stop me? No. Did it stop David? Will it stop you? Join the channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Join the fight. Let's get back our cities, get back our government agencies, put them in our favor. So Ukraine has been infiltrated while little children are doing without power and electricity because of the invasion from Russia. The Ukrainian government, apparently some of these people are stealing money from their government that's fighting for the very lives. They're stealing money from the people of Ukraine, and instead of rebuilding the infrastructure, rebuilding the electric power grid that Russia has knocked out, their own people in their own country are stealing that money and withholding for these projects to go forward, and even raping their own country of money during a time of war. How horrific. Now these people are being prosecuted, and the real fault is the Russian government that has knocked out the power grid. But still, people in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian president ran on stopping public corruption, and in his own government, self-admitted, the second man in charge has resigned in the midst of a corruption scandal in Ukraine while their soldiers are out shedding their blood. How horrific. Shedding their blood for the nation of Ukraine, the sovereign nation. And while they're shedding their blood to protect their country, people in government power are stealing money, causing little children to go without electricity when the money's set aside to protect the power grid and to rebuild the power grid that Russia has knocked out. People in the Ukrainian government are taking that money, putting those projects on hold when they should immediately go forward to have the power grid established. What a horrific thing. And in America, people in government power are fighting against the very people that they are supposed to serve. Our cities and our government agencies have fallen into the hands of creeps like some of the people in Ukraine that are in the government while the soldiers are out fighting and spending their blood for creeps in power, for thugs in power. That is so horrific. And my heart breaks when I see those little children doing without power, and some of them killed by missiles from violation of the Geneva Convention of Russia. What a horrible, horrific, nasty, dirty country. Now, I'm not the president of the United States. I don't have to negotiate with somebody because they have nuclear weapons. So I understand all that. I mean, I understand that. Depends on your position, how you deal with people, upfront and imperfect. So I understand negotiations between America and Russia, and they have to do that. We don't want to get a nuclear weapon aimed at us and fired because we're fighting another country's war. I'm American first. But I'm just giving a similarity between the nation of Ukraine and the nation of Russia, and how even though Ukraine is being attacked and decimated and occupied, some cities by Russian soldiers, America is occupied, some cities, government agencies, through propaganda by invaders, much like Ukraine, much like Russia invading Ukraine. And some of the Ukrainian officials are stepping on the blood of their soldiers and stealing money instead of rebuilding the grid system. Now, people, it's human nature to act similar the same way. So in America, our cities, and this is my statement and this is the truth, it's not propaganda, our cities and our government agencies, for the most part, specifically in the state of Tennessee, have fallen, they're invaded, similar to how Russia, by people in government power. As I speak right now, the district attorneys in the state of Tennessee, people that are locking innocent people up by the truckloads, district attorneys in the state of Tennessee who commit perjury, district attorneys, Randy Nichols committed perjury, and people in the district attorneys who lock political candidates up. Cody Womp locked a political candidate up. Cody Womp locked somebody up that's speaking the truth to power, not her power, because her power ain't that great, because her power is propaganda, it's lies. It's we got a right to take over your cities. No, you don't. The cities belong to the people. It belongs to you. Cody Womp locked a political candidate up that's speaking truth to power. I'm speaking truth to you. You're more powerful than her. You can vote her out. Before I ever go to Chattanooga, step foot in Chattanooga, step foot in that county, you need to vote her out. Because if I go to that county and speak truthfully against her, I'm not talking about lies, I'm talking about truthfully. In her county, she backed up me arrested for running for public office, for asking for an independent investigator to investigate people in power's wrongdoing, like Putin or like Lewinsky in Ukraine, asking for an investigation into some of his own people in power for their stealing money, taking away money from the power grid, not having it built immediately. And that's appropriate for him to do. What if district attorneys had to beat Lewinsky up and put him in jail for speaking the truth? I simply ask in Chattanooga and all across the state for an independent investigation into, get off the road here, into the criminal activity of our district attorneys. I've got a right to say that. And in her city, I was beat up and put in jail. So until you vote her out of office in Chattanooga, Cody Womp, the false propagandists, I will not enter that city. I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to get beat up. And they have the power to do that. There's more of you than there's her. I'd vote her out of office. So these district attorneys lie. And let me tell you what they're trying to do right now. They're full of false propaganda. Her propaganda is I was guilty of a crime. That's what she said. That's what she condoned. She condoned the police beat me up. I had to go to court and fight the false charges that were ultimately dismissed at the last minute because I was going to take it to a jury. She didn't want a jury to hear the truth. She wanted false propaganda. She wanted lies. She wanted that I had created disturbance at the polls. I had told people that they couldn't vote. Now, I never said that. That's a lie. That's a lie. The arrest warrant was a lie. Pure lies. No proof of that. It's what police officers said. It's what she said. She said she had a right to take over a political candidate, to stop a political campaign. Right in the middle of a political campaign where I was asking people to vote for me peacefully, safely, not stopping anybody from voting. She had me arrested. A district attorney in the state of Tennessee, Cody Womp. And I'm going to tell you what they're doing now to further expand their decimation, their takeover of Tennessee cities and Tennessee government falsely by false propaganda. Now, her propaganda she put out about me, condoning the unlawful arrest of a political candidate. She didn't arrest Bill Lee, her Republican counterpart. He's allowed to go to Chattanooga. He's allowed to go to Chattanooga. I'm just saying, there are military people, Ukraine, military soldiers fighting for Ukraine. Now they're fighting their own government because some of their own government, but it's a functioning government, I believe. But they still got corruption. And they can't go to some cities because they're occupied by Russian soldiers and they get shot and killed. And because the propaganda there, the propaganda is bullets, and Russia also uses propaganda. And I'm telling you, in the United States of America, if it's not true, let Cody Womp write me a letter and tell me I'm welcome in that city, that I won't be mistreated unless I commit a crime. Tell her, but I won't commit a crime. I didn't commit a crime before when I was arrested. Tell her to write me a letter, but I'm not exaggerating. There are cities in the United States of America, there are cities in the state of Tennessee that a political candidate that is trying to rightfully, legally, under the Constitution, our laws. So there are lawless counties in the state of Tennessee that the district attorney's office, Cody Womp, will not let me campaign. Will not let me go to, she will not let me go to Hamilton County, to Chattanooga, and peacefully, lawfully ask people to vote for me, tell them I'm running for public office, and lawfully, peacefully tell people in Chattanooga, this is their propaganda. See, they lied on me. This is the truth. This is countered the propaganda. I cannot lawfully go. I can lawfully go, but I cannot go because I'll get beat up and arrested. But I can't go to Chattanooga, Hamilton County, and ask people to vote for me. Tell them that I don't think the government is acting appropriately. I think there's corruption, just like Lewinsky think there's corruption in his government. And I can't tell them I think there's corruption in the government, that people in the government are stealing money, that they've decimated our cities, that the system's not working right for the populace. And I can't go to her city and tell them that there should be a special investigation office set up to investigate people of privilege and people in positions in our government that's outside of politics to investigate what's called suit crime, white collar crime. According to my education, according to my knowledge and my life lived experience, the most dangerous crime that causes more social harm than any crime that you could think of that a street criminal does, white collar crime, suit crime, government crimes, committed by crimes committed by people in government authority, crimes committed by politicians, are much more damaging to the populace in the state of Tennessee than any crime one robber that goes into a bank or one purse snatcher could ever commit. They commit horrific, heinous crimes that cost taxpayers lives and millions of dollars. And I'm not exaggerating. That's from an educated perspective. Scientists have done studies. Read it in any textbook, in any sociological criminology textbook, according to scientists. I mean, you look at a medical doctor, they'll tell you what's likely to cause cancer. They'll tell you what's likely to reduce your blood pressure. A lot of it is common knowledge now. Exercise, watching what you eat, don't eat a lot of salt. But you can get these gurus that'll tell you, oh, you need to do this or do that. Medical doctors have studied stuff. They have records of what's happened to people in the past. They know what fights cancer, chemotherapy. And I know another thing that fights cancer too, or fights your illnesses, because I'm a man of faith, is do what these medical doctors, these scientists, these experts say. You might want to get a second opinion. Some of them disagree on stuff, but they've studied stuff they know. And also go to your church. The Bible says talk to the elders of your church and get them to anoint you with oil. There is legitimate faith healing. I don't believe in Benny Hill. He's getting rich off that. But there's legitimate faith healing. You can go to the church, call for the elders, and ask them to anoint you with oil. And they won't charge you. If a church charges you for it, that ain't the right church to go to. And they will anoint you with oil, and you can get healed with that. So there's faith healing. Now, there's stuff beyond normal science that I believe. Now, don't go handle snakes. I mean, that's not what that means. But there is faith healing. The prayer of the sick, praying for the sick will help them. But the sick also need to take care of their own health. So these scientists in criminology, as I base my campaign on, I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. I'm not a far out left winger or a far south right winger. I'm talking about American populist ideals that I have. Nonviolence. I'm not a violent person. Never have been, never will be. I don't believe in violence. I detest violence. God hates violence. They'd like to paint me as a violent person. But that's not true. That's propaganda. That's a lie. I have lowered the death rate on Tennessee highways. Look at the facts. I've lowered it. They put out the fact, they put it in the newspaper, put my picture, put a hit out on me. Your government put a hit out on me. Bill Lee, and has continued that hit out on me, has continued to promote people that tried to have me killed, that put my picture on the front page of the paper in a derogatory manner saying, go get him. Go get him. That's what your government, they have decimated your cities with false propaganda. Since that day, your fatality rate, your likelihood of getting home at night or one of your children getting home has dramatically increased by 45%. That's not propaganda, that's fact, that's science. So what I'm telling you is not conspiracy theories. It's not far left wing stuff that you can't draw a line straight to. Now, in order to believe them, you have to go up and down and skip a few steps and get to where they're going, because it's false propaganda. And I'll tell you how they do it. They do it by emotion. They don't want you to think. They want you to get outraged by emotion. It's a tactic they use in court. By unfair, prejudicial information that get the jury to convict people based on emotion. They're going to get somebody for that heinous act, but they got the wrong person. They got the wrong person. It's called unfairly prejudicial. Because something heinous has happened, they're going to blame somebody. And that's not appropriate. That's not helpful. You ought to blame the person that's blamed, and then the fatality rate would go down. The person that blame in the situation they put out a hit on me on is the violent, dangerous person that ran from law enforcement and wrecked in a manner he couldn't be seen and slammed into a tree at 90 miles an hour. That's pretty violent. What if he ran into you? But his family is a hero. And his family is out here banging the drum that the trooper that was putting his life at risk, that hit nobody, endangered nobody, hurt nobody, that's putting his life at risk. And the government has put out that propaganda that I'm the person that did wrong, and getting a heyday, making himself a hero when he ought to be ashamed, not of his son, but what his son did. And and allowed them to put my life, and this is where the problem is, and put my children in danger. They put my children in danger. Troopers across the state of Tennessee, you get on their bad side for doing the right thing, they don't care. They'll put your damn kids in danger. They'll put your family in danger. You love your wife? Look at Major Heatherly. She'll put your kids in danger. She don't care about the truth at all. She's a dangerous person. False propaganda. She's invaded a takeover by false propaganda of your government living high on the hog while you can't afford groceries, and she's running around drunk using taxis to drive around. That's not false propaganda. That's the truth. And you should listen, because it's not getting any better, and there is still hope by what I'm telling you, putting out truthful propaganda. So we're on our way to our signature bridge as long as we can, because they put out a hit on me. I don't know if they'll do it again or not, but they put my picture on the front page of the paper with a lie, and you can see the screenshot. I've got my son there. My son wasn't driving dangerously, running from law enforcement, and my sons and my children weren't. I taught them better than that. And people get mad at me all you want to. You know, if you think about it, you got some bad data, people think I'm a coward. They frame me as a coward. I wasn't running from anybody. I wasn't running from any damn body. I was fighting, going forward to people, violent, dangerous people that causing you harm. And I'll continue to do that. And if anybody thinks that they're going to physically hurt me, then they got some bad data and they're in for a extremely rude awakening. And I can't tell you any plainer than that, because I've got a God-given right to defend myself, and I damn sure will. And this fight's ongoing. See, that's the thing. The state people in state power got some bad data, and they have decimated our cities. So Tennessee state troopers and law enforcement officers, I'm telling you, from the heart, these people in power in your government agencies will make a hero out of a thug, a violent, dangerous thug. And you're important, I get it, I was too. But my family on the face of this planet is the most important thing in the world to me. And they'll put your family in danger. So if you want the truth, you want a peaceful society, police officers are peace officers. God bless the peacemakers. If you want to really be a peacemaker, then you'll listen to what I'm saying. Now, you don't have to go in there and yell at your police chief or yell at the colonel and major. You need to be smart about it. But when elections come up, Democrats and Republicans both are thugs. You need to stand behind Power to You, the People movement. You need to stand behind voters of truth enraged, and get these people out of office where you can serve society, be a peacemaker, and your families be safe. Because I was out on the road defending society from a violent, dangerous person, and the now major over the Tennessee Highway Patrol made a hero out of them and put a hit out on me, tried to have me killed. That's the truth. Look at that picture, my picture on the front page of the paper. And look at standing beside me, that's my son. He didn't do any of that, but we're the villains. They put out that false propaganda by their leaps and by their falsehoods and made a hero out of a violent, dangerous man, drunk, dangerous, violent man that could have killed you. I couldn't have killed anybody, didn't run into anybody. Perfectly under control, did everything right. Made a villain out of me and my family, endangered me, put a hit out on me by putting my picture in the front page of the paper with false stuff on it that could infuriate people to kill me. Troopers, listen, Major Stacy Heatherly will do that to you while she's drunk riding around in the back of a patrol car. And that's the truth. And they back that stuff up by propaganda, by false propaganda. It's dangerous to the populace. She's dangerous to the populace. She's dangerous to law enforcement. And I have written them, and I do it for the propaganda purpose, the truthful propaganda, to say that I'm telling them about this stuff. I'm doing as a United States citizen, as an honorable, fair citizen, saying, hey, here's the facts, Bill Lee. Here's the facts. And I won't go into detail, but there's all kinds of horrific stuff, criminal acts she's committed, lies and falsehoods, and raping you of your tax money, making it hard for you to live. They literally use your tax money to prove lies. So when you go to grocery stores and you look at your grocery prices, it's because it costs them a hell of a lot of money to maintain power and to prove their dirty lies against you and decimate our cities and decimate our agencies and put it in the hand of rogue thugs that hold up the Bible and bear false witness. I'm not bearing false witness. I'm bearing the truth. Honest to God truth. I'll stand before God for what I'm saying right now. And God will pat me on the shoulder and say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Just like man will say, hey, you're a dirty person out on the road trying to get a drunk driver under arrest. You did all this dirty. Man says, no, you're wrong. No, that's not right. I don't need to bring my good activity in compliance with rogue people that claim to be Christians. What I do is ultimately I need to stand right before God Almighty, and trust me, I will. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing what's right. People get as cold David, oh, don't fight that giant, you're doing wrong. No, you're protecting Israel. You're protecting a nation that God says is going to win. I'm protecting the populace of America, the populace of the state of Tennessee. I'm going to win. Bill Lee, you're on the wrong line side. You need to open that Bible up and read that verse about bearing false witness, you hypocritical liar. Now, I don't know your heart, but I know you're a lying, dirty thug. Almost 4 million people, Bill Lee. Come out here and stop me. American Sidewalk, how do you like the truthful propaganda? You have decimated this state. Look at the food prices and lied about it. It's not your fault. Well, you're the damn governor, aren't you? Why did you close down? Why do you close down more hospitals than any governor in the nation, in the United States of America, per capita? Because a Christian governor does that? Excuse me, this might not sound very Christian, but bullshit. That's not propaganda, that's the damn facts. Turn down free money for poor people because of his religious, dirty convictions that don't go along with God's holy word. God's not for death, God's for life. He approved an abortion pill, and he's anti-abortion. Wow. And his next predecessor is going to sing the same song and dance full of false propaganda, same song and dance. And the problem is the political landscape. The political landscape is changing to where it is getting so bad from a bird's eye view, like in Ukraine, where there's Russian soldiers have decimated cities, run Ukrainian citizens and civilians and military out and completely occupied certain cities, and they're living in those cities with their flag down, hoping that they can take over the whole country and rebuild it under a Russian banner, take over a sovereign nation. But from a bird's eye view, you can see the decimation of Ukraine. Horrific scenes of mass destruction caused by a rogue nation, the nation of Russia. And I'm not the president. I understand he's got to negotiate with these people, but I'm not the president. I can tell you the truth. Mr. Putin's a murderer. Mr. Putin's a danger to the world. And Mr. Putin shouldn't be the president. He didn't win a lawful election by truth. And a lot of our American representatives are rogue people, and they shouldn't be in office. And I'm not promoting violence, I'm promoting voting. But from a bird's eye view, you can see the decimation and the destruction of the occupation of an army of dangerous, violent, sick people that have infiltrated our government. And at this very moment, right now, the people that are decimating you, the people that are trying to cling on to power the district attorneys that want you to work for nothing are trying to ask for more money to continue their decimation of the state of Tennessee and the United States of America. The district attorneys in Tennessee are asking the state legislature to give them more money to have more political candidates like Charles Van Morgan put in jail, or like Jared Effler in Claiborne County. That district attorney asked me to come to court and testify under oath, which I would have, because it was about a double vehicle homicide. So Jared Effler, the great, kind, rich man that he is, comes down here on the Knoxville Channel news stations. He doesn't tell you that he'll work you for free. He don't work for free. He doesn't work for free. He gets well paid. Well, great, glorified prosecutor, going to put criminals in jail. But they rigged the laws to where he can send you a subpoena, and you didn't agree to work for free. I went to work for the Highway Patrol. I didn't agree to work for free. I got my sons, my daughter to take care of. I couldn't agree to work for free. But he gave me a subpoena, ordering me to come to court. I went to meet with him at a restaurant, didn't even have money to buy food because the Highway Patrol fired me. This is how good a person I am. It's because it's somebody that committed a double vehicle homicide. I'm talking about Jared Effler. He wants more money. He's not going to pay people for what they do for him. He wants more money for him so that he can lock more maybe innocent people up. So welcome, Charles Van Morgan Show. So we got a bunch of people in here. Thank y'all so very much. Like, share, comment, and welcome to the show. So Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We're talking about the decimation of the Tennessee government by people who have invaded this country. So Jared Effler, and they want more money. They're petitioning the state government, the district attorneys in Tennessee. You can listen to the news this morning. District attorneys are petitioning the state for more tax money so that they can have more prosecutors in the prosecutor's office. Their propaganda is to keep down crime. It's not about keeping down crime. It's to further decimate our cities and accuse you of a crime you didn't commit and have more resources to do that. If you got enough money, you can do anything you want to do. They want more money to put more innocent people in jail. Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. You won't hear this anywhere else. Talking about the decimation, the invasion of our government agencies. They have fallen. They're already fallen. They're already in the hands of invaders. Right now, they're in the hands of invaders. I got a constitutional right to be out here on the sidewalk and to say this and tell you with facts what I think. But under a free and fair society, under constitutional Tennessee, but it's not constitutional. I can't do that. I have to watch out. I'll get arrested, knocked on the ground, beat up, like I did in Chattanooga. Now, I'm not going back to Chattanooga until Cody Womp gets voted out. But they want more money so that I can go to fewer cities and tell the truth. Now, that's our constitutional right. It's called the First Amendment. That the government shall make no law abridging of freedom of speech. It means that they can't make a law to make me shut up and quit speaking out against the government. Truthful speech against the government. The government has propaganda. They put out this, we're doing a good job, we're putting criminals in jail, we're answering questions that we ask ourselves. Real good trick, huh? How about answer my questions? How about answer my question, Jared Effler? When are you going to pay me for working? I should have been able to take care of my family. You know, my family, I'm not responsible for Claiborne County, you are. And you're not responsible for it either. You're a cheater. You cheat people. The district attorney, call him, tell him I said that. He cheats people. He don't pay them. Works them for free. Thinks you owe him. That's what these district attorneys, they think you owe them their tax money. We don't owe you anything. You owe us. You're our public servants. But they have invaded our government agencies. And they have a bullet. And they will kill you. They will put you in jail if you tell the truth about them, that they should be investigated. And if we find crimes, put their asses in jail, because they put you innocently in jail. They call good evil and evil good. That's what they do. Look at my screenshot. I was out risking my life for public safety better than any trooper in the state. And that's not bragging, the numbers show it. I kept the fatality rate down. The more people you arrest, the less people die. I arrested more people than anybody in the state. I was out that night trying to do just that. Already had one drunk driver under arrest. I was trying to arrest another one to protect you. Drunk drivers aren't heroes. They ought to be ashamed of themselves and straighten out. A police officer on the road at night by himself that tries to apprehend a drunk driver that drives safely according to the laws of the Department of Safety is the hero, not a drunken thug and their families that haven't told him not to do that. The father of that man goes into schools and talks to little children. Wow, what a fine example. I couldn't control my own child, my own son, and I'm going to tell you how to control other people's sons. And the Knox County school system let him in schools. I mean, his son died in a drunk driving wreck. He even admits that. But he says the trooper did something wrong. You're a liar. That's false. No, I didn't. That's a lie straight from hell. No, I didn't. You're lying on me. And I'm not going to apologize for saying that. He's a liar. He lies on me. And the government with their propaganda has decimated you and backing up a liar from the father of a dangerous drunk driver. Wow, I'm not ashamed of what I did that night. I stood tall for freedom, for safety, just like all police officers. Imagine you're out at night. People don't understand my fury. It's fury because the fatality rate is sky high now because that stuff gets to have the weight of law and the propaganda. Yeah, that's good. You go out and commit a crime, we'll get the police officer, and you're a hero. You're a martyr. No, you're not. You died as a result of your actions. And you ought to be, the family does not get a cookie and a ribbon and get to speak in public schools. The family of somebody that teaches their children not to drink and drive should be able to speak in schools that have a result, not somebody that had a failure. Now, I know some kids don't obey their parents, but still, that's not something to be idolized. And then, what is horrifically wrong is to run down the police officer, say false communication about me. That's defamation. Now, the courts have said it's okay. They've adjudicated in a liar's favor. They've adjudicated in a defamator's favor. That's how our states, that's how our government agencies have been decimated. That's why your traffic fatality rate is skyrocketed, because they praise evil and they try to decimate good. But let me tell you something, lying little Russell, sit up there on your high throne. You ain't seen nothing yet. Remember what I told you a long time ago? You were spitting out your baloney, trying to run over me. And I told you on the phone when you called me, I said, may I speak? Because it's a military organization. When he was trying to run me down, trying to stop me from saving people's lives, a new supervisor from Nashville, a liar. They call him a hero. He's an idiot. Remember what I told you, Larry? A lot of people run over me in my lifetime. None of them have ever made me like it, and you're not going to either. What is it, 13 years later, you still ain't made me like it, you big thug. And I'm not stopping. 1.3 million people know Lionel Lowell Russell's a thug, has decimated the state of Tennessee, promoted a family and their drunk driver above a police officer that lowered the fatality rate, and is responsible for the skyrocket and the decimation of the state of Tennessee. When you honor evil, it grows. More people get killed. If they had stood for right, I'd have been on the road for the past 13 years, and your fatality rate would have been under 1,000. Your chances of going to work, your chances of your children coming home, the chances of them not getting struck by a drunk driver, their stupid selves would have been better. That's not propaganda. That's a little bit of the truth from a fighter with a rock. They ain't got all their equipment, but 1.3 million people. And as of probably the end of today, 1.4 million people will hear some unbridled truth, and I don't care what they say. People get on here and say all kinds of crazy, nasty, wicked stuff. You know, I don't care. I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter. I'm not listening to your false propaganda. I don't care about your lies. I don't care. It's not affecting me. It has no effect on me. In fact, it helps me. So keep on. You don't understand the mentality of a fighter. We're fighting for something right we can't let go of. That is the very obvious truth that is protection of society and the well-being of little children, and we're not going to let that go. What you're fighting for is your power and your money and your billfold, and you hold up that Bible and call yourself a Christian and lie, and that's not going to work in the long run. Our rock symbolically will penetrate that thick, stupid skull and knock your ass down, and then we'll cut your head off. Symbolically. So I equate it to they don't understand. But they're going to get the message. Because when you're fighting for right, you know you're going to win in the end. So I equate it to, similarly, to a big bully with a lot of power and might that's a hell of a lot stronger, got a hell of a lot more avenues of false propaganda. They got the news media. They got their rogue judges. They got their pathetic DA's office that's asking for more money to prosecute more innocent people to commit more crimes. The DA's office wants more money, more of your money, so that they can commit crimes against you. That's the Tennessee Attorney General's offices. And the Tennessee Supreme Court is going to back them up. They literally hold private meetings where they don't let attorneys, where they don't let journalists listen in on their little war messages against the public to decimate people. The Tennessee Supreme Court does that. They have private meetings. A journalist was arrested for trying to attend a public meeting by the Tennessee Supreme Court. Everything they say in public meetings should be open to the public. But they want to have their little war meetings so they can sit around, lie, joke, and listen to the court messages and laugh about the stupid public, laugh about the mass population, how stupid you all are, and plan and deceive and talk about how they can make a drunken, violent hero and his family their message because they go on emotion instead of the truth, how they can make them heroes, and they could care less if the fatality rate goes up. They're more concerned about maintaining their power, and that's what it's about. It's about maintaining their power. Like Mr. Putin's, his concern is about invading Ukraine to get their oil and their ports for mammon, for money. So I equate it, and look at the beautiful view. Look at the beautiful view of the city of Knoxville and the road courthouse. Prosecutors at that courthouse, right there, they sat in offices. They sat in offices at that courthouse and released, get a beautiful view from the Tennessee River, and released. Now there's where a hospital used to be right there, but it's been closed down. It's been closed down by the government. They're decimating. What's the difference between Russia sending a bomb over here and blowing a hospital up? Boom, blow it to the ground, like they're doing in Ukraine. You know, there used to be a hospital there for people's medical care. Where you go in there, if you got shot, or you go in there, if you had a car wreck by one of the drunk drivers, you go in there, they'd take you in there, and they'd have medical professionals, and they'd sew up your wounds and straighten your leg out and put it in a brace if it was broke at a hospital right there. That's what they used to do. And so Russia came over here, that hospital, and they blew it to the ground. You can see rubble there. I know there's another building, but that building's not a hospital. That rich people live in that building. You got to have a hell of a lot of money to live in that building by the river. There used to be a hospital there where they took care of people's health. Something needed, something necessary. So Russia came over here and blew that building to the ground with a drone or one of their high velocity missiles. That's what they do and that's symbolic. That's what they do in Ukraine, right? They send a high velocity missile in civilian populations and blow up hospitals. That's what they do. You can go in Ukraine, a bird's eye view, a drone view, and look at the hospital blown to hell by Russia. Russia invaded, blew them up. The governor, plural, in Tennessee, have, as a matter of fact, by the same means almost, have flew in here, have flew their ballistic lies in here and blown that hospital up. There's no hospital there anymore. They have done it by defunding them. Same as a Russian missile, has the same effect, has the same damn effect. And put, now when it's all over, Russia is going to build Ukraine for the rich. Rich people are going to move over there, and they're going to kill all the little children, all the Ukrainian families, and rich people are going to move in there, and they're going to rebuild Ukraine when Russia takes over. If that happens, I hope that it don't. And Russia's going to move in there, and they're going to build beautiful apartment complexes like this over there. See that? Beautiful apartment complexes. And they're going to build those beautiful complexes where hospitals used to be, Ukrainian hospitals used to be, where they're now decimated. And so you'll be able to fly over Ukraine probably 20, 30 years from now, and you'll see beautiful Russian buildings in Ukraine and where the rich people move in. But Ukrainians are going to be dead or gone, or they're going to be indoctrinated into the Russian regime, and their hospitals are decimated. This is similarly, the governors, the people that have infiltrated our government in the state of Tennessee, through not ballistic missiles, through gaining power and decimating our states and our cities, decimating hospitals. They have decimated the hospital. Now that's their regime. They built a beautiful, high-rise, expensive apartment building there instead of a hospital. Now, if I filmed it when they tore it down, it wasn't a ballistic missile that hit it. It was Governor Bill Lee that sent a financial ballistic missile to that hospital. Now he lies. He said, Christian Bible, hey man, look at me, I'm good. But he's a dirty liar. Little children get hurt. Little children die because of Bill Lee. He's not a Christian, I don't think. I don't know his heart, but he hasn't lived like a Christian. If Bill Lee was a Christian, he lived like one, he'd decimate our cities. There'd be a hospital there. There'd be more hospitals. Instead of housing by the river for the super rich. So similarly, as Russia has invaded Ukraine, now you're not seeing the decimation, you're seeing the rebuilding that belongs to people in power, which you'll see that in Russia, in Ukraine, that'll be Russia soon. You're seeing the rebuilding of of cities in Tennessee, but they're not rebuilding the decimation that they destroyed. They're not rebuilding hospitals. They're not rebuilding stuff that they need to rebuild for the mass populace, for us. They're decimating us. They don't even want us here. They want us gone and dead. They put a hit out on me. So that's the results of the Christian governor. Closed down more hospitals than any state per capita in the United States of America under a Christian banner. Call him and tell him I said that. Refusing free money from the federal government, and I know it's not free money completely, it's tax money, but tax money from the federal government that is a legitimate social program that's not socialism, that combats socialism, because socialism is at the top. The taking the money away from thieves at the top and equally distributing it to people who should have had it in the first place is not socialism. To give people hospitals that work minimum wage jobs, to give it back to them and take it away from the rich people who have exploited them in their low wages and incomes, is not socialism. That is a little bit of leavening out the field from their socialism. Now that's their propaganda. You open up hospitals all over the state of Tennessee and help poor people, they call it socialism. When they give themselves tax breaks, when they live off your tax money, when prosecutors are wanting more money from you to put more of you in jail, innocent of crimes. I didn't say guilty. Sure, more money to put guilty people in jail. If Tennessee prosecutors want more money to put guilty people in jail, then they need to build a jail for almost every prosecutor in the state of Tennessee for them to go in. Yeah, I said it, for them to go in. A lot of them are the worst criminals that you could ever imagine. They just lie about it. They tell you, we're out for the safety net protection of people. We put dangerous people in jail. Then put yourself in jail. You're more dangerous than the thugs you put in jail from the social harm that you do. So Tennessee prosecutors are wanting more of your money to do more evil. You won't hear that from them. They'll tell you in their podcast, answering their own questions, that we help the children, we got a elder abuse criminal unit. Do you have a criminal unit to investigate dirty prosecutors? Do you have that criminal unit that prosecutes dirty prosecutors? Do you have a criminal unit that investigates district attorneys across the state of Tennessee? Hell no, they don't. They want to put you in jail. They don't want to investigate them. So let's investigate the investigators. That's what I'm doing. I'm spitting out pure truth. They've decimated. They have infiltrated that courthouse. It belongs to us. That courthouse belongs to us. It doesn't belong to Russia. That courthouse don't belong. If a Russian soldier came in here, some of them marched in there, and they jumped up on the judge's desk. They grabbed honest judges, threw them out, put their judges in there, put Putin in there behind the desk, put their own administration in that courthouse, and told you that was just. They had a right to our courthouse. They had a right to your money, and they're going to make you pay more of the money to run that courthouse, and they're going to control Knoxville, Knox County, and they're going to tell you what to do. Russian soldiers did that. What if they did it? You'd be mad as hell. But they're going to put out propaganda. They're not going to tell you that they're doing it. They're going to say that you're wrong and you're bad, and we can straighten it out. And we're going to take more of your money to make this more Russian, to make this more of us, and make this more about us. And you'd be mad as hell if they did that. I'm telling you. Russia did that to Ukraine. They've decimated their cities. They're going to rebuild them after they take over the whole country. There's going to be a nice apartment complex instead of a hospital for them to house their rich people, and they're going to have a hospital for them. They don't need as many for the rich people because they're only a small percentage of the population. They have the majority of the wealth, and they'll have hospitals for them. They don't need a lot of hospitals because us, the mass population, we don't have a lot of wealth, and you're not going to have a hospital. They don't care if you die. They care if they die. And they'll have access to hospitals. They don't need many hospitals for the high people at the top. They don't need many hospitals for the people at that city county building. There's not very many of them. They want all your money to build them hospitals, and they're going to tear your hospitals down. And they got a place for you. They got a place for you. They're building them bigger. It's called a jailhouse, a cell. 3 hots in a cot. Is that what you want? That's what they'll do to you. They're wanting more money to tear down more hospitals and build more jails so they can put more people in jail while they're committing crimes. And I'm not just saying they're committing crimes. I've showed you all. Listen to my video yesterday. I've showed you all the crimes that they're committing. Prosecutors are lying under oath. Look at my video yesterday. That's not made up stuff from somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. That's stuff that's true from I've seen it. That's not false propaganda. Now, what they say is false propaganda. What they say is lies, and not just false propaganda. It's criminal activity because they lie under oath. They raise their hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Randy Nichols did that. From that courthouse right there, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. And then he lied. Then he brought up evidence that was false. He knew it was false, and then he even tried to back out of it after he already said it. He even admits that he lied under oath. But that's okay because Russians own the courthouse. Symbolically, they own the courthouse. They're not going to charge their own soldiers for rape, robbery, and mass killing of children. That courthouse is not going to charge their own people for rape, robbery, and murder, and mass decimation of the population. They're not going to do that. They're not going to put out the propaganda. The propaganda they're going to put out is we help elderly, and we're good. And they're going to say, we're answering questions, but the question that we answer is, what are you doing for elderly? The question that they ask themselves. They're not going to answer the question of are you continuing to investigate Mr. DeBusk, and has he done any jail time for listening into confidential communications that has probably resulted in hundreds of people going to jail falsely? Have you looked into prosecutions of people by prosecutors where they are innocent? Have you investigated prosecutors that have committed crimes against people that are easy to prove? Have you put them in jail Or are you the Russian courthouse that only wants to perpetrate Russia, the people in power's decimation and rebuilding of the United States of America, the state of Tennessee, for the few rich and powerful, and step all over the mass population, which is exactly what they're doing. Now, I said a lot of stuff there, rewind it and listen to it. Every damn bit of it is the freaking truth. So look at this building here. That is the Russian courthouse. False propaganda. State-controlled media talks about that place. Like, share, comment. And let's get the likes up. It's helped spread the message. They don't want this message. They got out a podcast. They probably got a few views on it. They got out a podcast that lies, lies, lies. Lies, lies, lies. Decimates the country. Decimates the state of Tennessee. Decimates you and your families. Causes the fatality rate to skyrocket. Calls evil good, and lets evil speak at churches. Speak at churches. They let Bill Lee walk into church and put out his garbage. He literally walked into church and lied in a church. Actually, he walked in the church all fancy and then went right outside and lied when he did his commentary. Maybe he was afraid to lie inside the church, but he wanted to walk in there and say, I'm a good person. I'm in the church house. In the church house now, yeah. You ought to be in the jailhouse now, where you ought to be for the crimes he's committed against humanity. And I have told them, they know. I've sent them complaints, and I don't send them complaints because I think that they will answer the complaints and justify and punish the perpetrators. I send them the complaints so that I can show the public, hey, I am telling these people, and they don't care. Obviously, they don't care. And let's see what they do to me. They'll try to hurt me is what they'll do. So like, share, let's get up to 60 likes. We're here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're talking about the decimation of Tennessee by people in power have infiltrated our government and are decimating America, decimating the state of Tennessee for themselves. And we're fighting this. So we have people in power. They're calling evil good and good evil. Now you have the captain over the Knoxville district that stands out here on the sidelines with the Tennessee football team because they want the propaganda out there. He's a good person, and it's a PR gimmick. And making the highway patrol, putting them out in the public, but they're for you, protecting the football coach. And I know the captain that they have out there. And he literally was out on the road, and the highway patrol has a rule, and it's against the law. You can't shoot at a moving vehicle from a moving vehicle. Obviously, that's a safety hazard because what happens is it's harder for you to control where your bullet goes. Every bullet you fire, you're responsible for. So if you're shooting at someone to defend your life and you miss and hit an innocent person, then you're still responsible for the bullet you fired. So you got to worry, you got to be concerned about the backstop. What's behind what you're shooting at? Now they teach you all this in training. And they got rid of a good captain at the Highway Patrol, a military veteran at the Highway Patrol. They did a good job. And he shot at a moving vehicle from a moving vehicle. Obviously, how do you control your backstop when it's completely moving? You can't do that. Guards the football coach. And now similarly, and they call evil good and good evil. And then they promote him all the way. He's a captain now, standing out there beside the coach. And that's a political thing. There is not much risk that the Highway Patrol needs to be involved, and they are all across the United States, in the protection of a football coach at a university, because they've got city police departments and there's not a lot of risk. They're taking people off the road that ought to be protecting you. And it'd be different if they were good people, but they're not. Similarly, when I was in Jefferson County, now this is the value that they put on people. If you're in the inn, have a daddy in the highway patrol, or your aunt on the Supreme Court, then you're to be left alone. But if you are, nobody can get on with the highway patrol because of your education, experience, and job performance, because you protect the public, then you're not even allowed to protect yourself. Because I was in Jefferson County out on patrol, and I had a car, a motorcycle, that was going down the road without a tail light on. So I was on a special assignment. They say they don't have quotas, but they do. And I was on patrol, and I seen a county sheriff deputy pulled over behind the car, so I pulled in behind him to make sure he was safe, and he said he was, so I was backing out to go on. Before I backed out, I seen a motorcycle come down the road. The motorcycle, I got behind it, backed out behind it, didn't have a tail light on, so I tried to pull it over. So I tried to pull the motorcycle over because it didn't have a tail light. All you seen was a bright light in front. And the motorcycle pulled over, and this is the difference between somebody that doesn't have anybody, the difference between us, and the difference between the elite people in power. Now, they can shoot from a moving vehicle at another car when their life's not in danger and they don't know what the backstop is. But if you try to protect yourself, and this is stuff I know from firsthand experience, if you try to protect yourself against one of their violent rogue, against a violent assault, then you get in trouble. So I was trying to pull the motorcycle over. It pulled over at a business there on a gravel lot. I pulled in behind it, and the guy was sitting on his motorcycle, and I started to get out. But from experience, I've been on the road for 10, 12 years at the time. So from experience, I know that if you get out on a motorcycle like that, they'll take off. And if they want to get you outside the car, and then they take off. So I told him on the PA, got on the PA, turn it off, turn off the motorcycle, get off the motorcycle. So he leaned it over and was starting to get off. And I think he was probably gonna try to fight me. And so he's got off, and then a deputy sheriff, the one I just backed up, pulls right in beside me. And as soon as he did that, he knew he had two people to fight instead of just one. And which I think I would have been fine anyway. I mean, I know how to protect myself. So as soon as the other officer pulled up, the sheriff's deputy pulled up to back me up, I just backed him up. The guy got on the motorcycle, started real quick, and took off down the road. Took off, excuse me, not down the road, down the grass beside the road, going the opposite direction. The deputy sheriff was still in his car, a real good deputy. And he went down the road, down the grass, one of people's houses right behind him. It was in Jefferson County. This captain shot at a moving car from a moving car. His life wasn't in danger. Fired on the job. Nothing happened to him. Me, this car went down, the motorcycle went down people's front yard away from me, running. And the sheriff's deputy pulled up, was still in his car, so he went down the grass with him. So I'm still outside the car, and he's going down the road. So I step out a few feet, watching which way he's going, and the motorcycle turns around and directly comes right at me. So he's coming at me, and I'm in no man's land between the middle of the road, and he's flying, coming right at me flying. So I pull out my gun and aim at him, tell him, stop, stop. And I'm trying to see which way he's going to go to jump out of the way, and he wouldn't stop, sped up, so I fired at him to protect my life. And I knew the backstop wasn't no cars behind him. Similarly, the captain over the Knoxville district fired a shot from his car, a moving car, not in danger, at another moving car, didn't even know his backstop. So I after warning him, I fired him because he's coming right at me. He's going to hit me with his motorcycle, refusing to slow down. I fired around at him. I would have fired more, but the deputy sheriff then turned around and was right behind him, so I didn't want to hit the deputy after that. So I jump out of the way and get in my patrol car, and the car takes off down the road, and the deputy behind him. They eventually caught him, and the highway patrol The Highway Patrol suspended me over that. They said I didn't have a right to protect my own life. And the captain, I remember, went to the captain we had to go to the captain for them to write me up. I had to sign disciplinary papers. And they weren't going to fire me, so I'd take the discipline. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't agree with it. I got a right to defend myself, and I'm still going to defend myself. I don't care what they say. You got a right to defend yourself. They can make no rule or law against the First Amendment. They can make no rule or law for people to defend themselves. Defend yourself. I mean, don't be violent, but if somebody's trying to kill you, you got a right to defend yourself. They say it's not right. They're not right. So I remember the captain told me, did I learn anything? And I said, yes, I did. I'm glad that he didn't ask me what I learned, because what I learned was to aim better and fire more rounds, faster before the deputy got behind him. But he didn't ask me to say that, because that's not what he wanted to hear. Because I don't care what they say. They have decimated this country. They give them the right to shoot at people unlawfully, unjustifiably, and put them on the sidelines of the UT football, promoting propaganda. He's a good person. He's a captain. When he violated the law and should have been fired over that. And I protected myself. And that's what they do. So let's look at some false propaganda that they put out against you. Now we're talking about false propaganda. Let's see how many people we got in here. Wow, 300 people in here. Man, that's probably some of the most I've ever had. Thank y'all for coming. If you want the message to get out, like, share, and comment, and subscribe, and spread the message. The government hates the message. And also in reference to that man has broken the law, fired at somebody from a moving vehicle. You never heard anything about it in the newspaper. Gotten by with it. Now on the sidelines. But we don't have a right to defend our life. But people in political office and highway patrol, if they're connected, have a right to shoot at people unnecessarily. And they put him up on the sideline. Now, he's got promoted without any education substantially, when I had at that time a Master of Arts in criminology. So he stands on that sidelines and he presents the ideal, the concept to the UT football players, that you don't have to earn things in order to win football games. That all you have to do to win football games is to be connected. You can break laws. You don't have to practice. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to deserve it. You don't have to keep the fatality rate down. Under him, the fatality rate has risen. I worked with him. I know him. You don't have to earn what you get. He had a wreck. His car was damaged. I don't know if he had a wreck, but I know his patrol car was damaged. Assigned to him. He said a car in his driveway slipped out of gear and slammed into his patrol car. If another trooper, that happened to another trooper, they'd get suspended. I never heard anything about him get suspended over that. They get by with whatever they want to do. He's teaching to the troopers on the sideline that you don't have he's teaching to the troopers too, you don't have to do your job to get promoted so you know. So he's teaching to the football players that you don't have to practice, you don't have to catch footballs, you don't have to, if you're a receiver with the Tennessee football team, and I know I used to play sports, on the off season you don't have to carry a football with you, and you don't have to go outside for maybe 3 or 4 hours a day and pass and catch and pass and catch and pass and catch. You don't have to lift weights, you don't have to practice, you don't have to work at it, you don't have to be good at what you do. You can be successful, you can win football games without doing the hard work, without getting any education, without studying the sport, knowing how to get around players, how to beat other teams. You don't have to have knowledge of the game. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to be deserving of it. You can win football games just because who you are, who's your daddy, who's your mama. That's what the Highway Patrol portrays when they stand over there on the sidelines, and you see the results this year. Because other football teams, other state patrols are not like that. They have people that are in high positions of power that have an education, that have a history of saving lives on the road, that are deserving of what they do, that maybe have some military experience. You've got a colonel in the state of Tennessee that was never in the military. They have gotten rid of highly qualified, very good military people in the Highway Patrol because they're not connected. So you have people in the Highway Patrol, and that's the difference. In society, they rape, rob, and steal and take your money when they lose. In order, when they fail, when they're in power in the government, then they just get more of your money. That's why the economy's so bad, because they've really failed, but it doesn't bother them. They just take more of your money. On the football field, in a real game, which is one of the reasons why I like sports, where the rubber meets the road, when you don't deserve, when you don't practice, when you don't work at it, when there's 12 men on the field, and you got 12 men on the field, and it's a fair game, a level playing field, you don't get something for nothing if you can't hit the other team harder than you. And let's get it right. Football is about who hits harder and who's the toughest team and wants the game more. And when you don't have that mentality, and you've got a THP captain on the sideline that's gotten places for nothing, shot at people that shouldn't have been shot at, violated the laws, and still elevated that captain, and the players think, well, I can win games, I don't have to do nothing, he didn't do nothing. Then that's what you get. You get a losing football team. And until they get rid of the Tennessee Highway Patrol on the side of that football team, or revamp the Highway Patrol and get people that are deserving, and there's some of them in the Highway Patrol that are deserving, then you're not going to have a winning football team or take them off the field. So we're talking about today the decimation of the state of Tennessee. Wow, I got 270 people in here. It's all about football. Yeah, I love football. That's what this is, a football city. And we're not doing too well right now because of the state government and Tennessee Highway Patrol. So we're talking about the decimation of, and we have been invaded, our government, our people in power, our government has fallen under the control of invaders. Now, another way they've done this is through, you see immigration policies right now. This is real serious, this is real important. Because you see immigration policies right now where the current administration, thankfully, justifiably, is deporting illegal aliens. I mean, who thinks that illegal people should live here? You can't have a country without a border. You can't have a state without a border. Who thinks that it is right for people that don't belong here to live over here, take our resources? The mass population don't believe that. They believe we should be fair with legal immigrants, but people that come over here illegally. And you're seeing a lot of more resources for people in this country that belong here, for American children, American citizens, because of the current administration's policy to deport all these people. You're seeing a lot of false propaganda getting back in here. But these people from foreign countries are by the truckloads, and I don't trust it, getting legal immigrant status. You have the mayor here in Knoxville very proud of the fact that several people, I don't know, maybe close to hundreds, I don't know the exact number, are getting sworn in and being handed legal status in the United States of America. These are people from a foreign country. They're given legal status. We're being invaded. Our country's being decimated. The mass populace, American citizens, American children, draft card bearing people who have a birth certificate in the United States of America are being decimated, wiped out by illegal immigrants that are now, because of the mass deportation, they're going around the back door and giving these people, you can't deport them if they get handed legal status. And then they're from another country. They have another allegiance. They have another way of life. They have another way of thinking. They have been indoctrinated, not into the American way of life, and some of them don't even speak English. And I'm not talking about legal people over here that don't speak English, that do right and live right and deserve to be here and are a benefit to the American society and the American way of life. But those are few and far between. Few and far between. So they're getting around the mass deportation of illegal aliens by giving them undeservingly, I believe, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, legal status. They're giving them American citizenship, and they don't deserve it because they're not truly Americans. They don't believe in our way of life. They come over here like Omar and complain, and don't like our way of life, and they're taking over our country. Illegal aliens that the government gives them legal status. And they're getting around the deportation because they're illegal. They come across here illegal, don't have a birth certificate, don't have a selective service registration. And before immigration can get to them, they run to the government offices and they give them that piece of paper. And the mayor's over here, look at all these people, and what you doing, I'll tell you. And in all cities across the United States and in Tennessee, and they're getting that piece of paper. So when ICE shows up, they say, I'm legal now, ha ha ha. I'm from another country, I'm from Mexico, I'm from Guatemala. They kicked me out of the prison, but I got this piece of paper here. Legal status, I'm legal now, can't touch me. They're hiding behind immigration laws that are sometimes not even abiding by the law and getting legal status by the truckloads. And they're doing that to completely decimate our society. They're getting legal status to decimate our society because both parties, Republican and Democrats, not the people, the party leadership, are doing that in order to get votes, for their side of the aisle. We give you immigration status, we give you lieutenant in the Tennessee Highway Patrol, we give you power over American citizens from your country even though you came here illegally. Steve Sacapone is one of them. Didn't have an immigration, came over here illegally, doesn't have a birth certificate in America, doesn't have a selective service registration. He's a lieutenant with the Highway Patrol. Decimated our country. I'm not in the Highway Patrol, got a birth certificate, selective service registration, a Master of Arts and a JD and a bachelor's degree. He has none of that. They gave him that. Why? For votes. For votes. You give them legal status and then they can vote. So they're getting mass populace over here from other countries. And I'm not against legal immigration where people are going to be Americans and they want American status and they're Americans, where they will sign up in the military and fight in our wars and die for this country. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. They're coming over here for a free ride. They wouldn't fight in the country. They appreciate our sons and daughters for generations and generations doing it. But they won't do none of that. To hell with that. They want a free ride, and they're getting it for free votes for politicians because, hey, look, I'll give you this. You vote for me, remember? And they're lining up hundreds and giving them that, and they're going to go to the polls, and they're going to vote us out and them in, and it's going to be the United States of Guatemala, the United States of Mexico, because they're politicians are letting invade our country. We should be very strict about our immigration laws, deport illegal immigrants peacefully, nicely as possible, and quit handing out legal status by the truckloads for votes, which is what they're doing. They don't tell you that. That's truthful propaganda. They're proud. Look at all these Facebook posts where they're standing in these city halls and these courts where they're giving mass populations of foreigners legal status and handed it to them like water. When some of them have earned it and treat them right, but some of them would never fight for this country. They come over here to extrapolate the resources that were protected by American sons and our American children that shed our blood, that fought in wars, not for people to come over here from another country and be handed a piece of paper protected falsely by legal status that the government should have never gave them in the first damn place, because they're crooked as hell, and they're doing it for votes. They want their votes, so they can't vote unless they give them legal status. So they give them votes. We'll give you immigration, you give us your votes, and it ain't a deal where they shake hands and write a contract. It's backroom deals. They know what they're doing it for. they're not going to tell you exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing it for. So immigration is one of the means that they're decimating the culture and the state and Bill Lee's letting it happen of Tennessee under the guise of treating illegal immigrants right, and that they're going through the procedure. They're not going through the procedure the way they should, or they wouldn't be handing out mass documents that protect people from being deported, and they should be deported. So that's another way they are decimating this country. Wow, over 200 people. Like, share, comment. So we need 100 likes, and subscribe if you like the message. And I'm not saying mistreat immigrants. People that come over here that are willing to pledge allegiance to the flag, honor our government, that are willing to fight for this country, that are willing to advance this country's interests, that are willing to be Americans, that are willing to shed their blood if it comes to it, to protect our Constitution and our way of life, that come around to our way of life. We shouldn't have to come around to their way of life from their foreign countries. We didn't go there. We weren't born there. We're not trying to seek there. We're not trying to hurt them. They're coming over here. They have the obligation to prove that they're Americans, that they want to be Americans. And the ones that do that, and they're giving it out like water. You come over here, it's a joke. Come over here to America, and if they're about to be deported, run down there and get a piece of paper, and ICE can't get rid of you because of politicians, people in power. To remain in power, need their vote. And the political landscape in the United States is changing so dramatically, so drastically, and you can see it in the elections. And they're more and more desperate to get more and more voters, and they're getting more and more foreign voters on their sides. And they're going to outvote Americans, and you're not going to be able to recognize the United States of America because it's been sold out, decimated by people in power in the government that are handing out for votes legal status that they shouldn't be legal. They haven't paid the price, or they don't go through the appropriate procedures. It's not done right, I don't believe. And they're selling out America, and the political landscape is changing, so they're more and more desperate. You look at the state of Tennessee in the last election with Matt Van Epps in a Democrat area that was won by 22%, and it's happening all over America. The political landscape. People are seeing what I'm seeing. So I'm not talking to people that don't get it. That the people in power in this government have sold us out. The government agencies have fallen. We've been invaded, and we're being invaded by foreigners through illegal and legal means because they're the ones that make the law. It's fallen into the hands of invaders that fight for power against you. And we need to stand up and do something about it. One of the ways is vote them out. There's still more of us. If we continue to wait, there'll be more foreigners voting in elections and they'll win. The political landscape, Donald Trump won part of a district in Tennessee by 22% in the last election where he won the White House in 2024. Just a little over a year later, Matt Van Epps in the same district, now I know he's not the president, but he's still running on the Republican Party, Republican values, won only by 9%. So a radical Democrat, and I love Democrats too, I love Republicans, I love people. Now, I'm not standing on a party ticket. Both parties are crooked as hell. Both parties right now are scared as hell. They're nervous as hell. They're scrambling all over the place to try to get public persuasion, to try to put out propaganda to see what sticks. Let me tell you what sticks, and what I'll keep saying, whether it sticks or not, because the truth has weight and value. I'll keep putting out the truth. American citizens born on American soil with American birth certificates, raised in America, educated in America, American parents, American way of life, American faiths, are Americans. We got a right to vote and decide who rules over us, not these perverts that have taken over our government. Russia doesn't have a right in this country. The prosecutors don't have more right in this country than we do. So the political landscape is shifting. Both sides are nervous. They lost 13 percentage points in less than a year. Republicans, from a pretty radical Democrat that believes in a lot of radical things that most people would never dare believe in, one almost came pretty close within single digits of winning an election. So the difference between Democrat and Republican, the landscape, even in a red state, I mean red all across this state, you couldn't get much redder than the state of Tennessee, has opened up the door to nobody is happy with anybody because it's such a close race. They don't like any of the candidates. And that's our avenue. That's our avenue. That's our road. That's our lane has opened up, and we're going down the lane. I'm not bending to public pressure, or I'm not bending to public politics. Our lane, my lane, has opened up, but the lane that I had before is telling the truth, putting out truthful propaganda, the truth. And we're putting out the propaganda by the masses. At the end of this day, I'll have reached 1.4 million people, and something as simple as saying, tell the truth, tell the truth, bear truthful witness. I'm not hanging a Christian banner, I'm not hanging a Methodist banner, I'm not hanging a Muhammad banner. I'm hanging the banner of the truth, a populist representative. America run by you, not foreigners. America run by truth, not the few at the top that have decimated this country. You go to your grocery store, look at your grocery prices. Wow, is it working for you? And it's because of Democrats and Republicans. I'm not talking about the people. You've been lied to. They put out false propaganda. They have the news media. They have the fake podcasts. They have the judicial fake rulings that put out falsehoods. They have prosecutors that are wanting even more money to put out falsehoods against you. And they then politicians and people that run for public office telling you the truth, they put me in jail for telling you the truth. Well, did it work for them? I'm still telling the truth. A politician should be able to go in any city in America. I can't go to Chattanooga because they'll put me in jail. They'll beat me up. Not for saying hurt Cody Womp, because Cody Womp had me hurt. For saying vote American. Stop this invasion of our country, this mass decimation by people in power. Look at my screenshot. They call good evil. It's good for all these people to come over here because it helps them, because they're getting votes. And they call evil good, and let those people speak at your schools and promote what's wrong with America is these evil people getting in power. So let me show you some this is their propaganda. Let me show you some truth about a former major with the Tennessee Highway Patrol bringing proof to this argument. Well, they said under oath, well, the prosecutors want more money. The prosecutors want more money. Like, share, and comment, and subscribe. Look up Charles Van Morgan, Tennessee State Trooper. Y'all look me up. And look at their false propaganda. Look at that newspaper article where it has my picture. I was out risking my life for public safety. It has my picture, and it has I did something wrong, evil, putting out a hit on me. That's a public hit. Put your picture out, put your name, and put that you done something evil to promote to the public, and people have tried to hurt me because of that. The government controls the news media, and they didn't like me because I was out doing what's right, putting their children in jail. The prosecutors, lawyers in jail, their children in jail for drunk driving just like you. So they took me off the road because they're off limits. You can't touch them. And I was administering the law fairly to everyone, and that you can't do that. They won't let you do that. So read their propaganda. read their false propaganda. I'm putting out truthful propaganda. Yeah, but I've got a picture. You don't have to go look at the newspaper. Look at the picture, the screenshot of this video with me beside my son, who's important too. Now, he wasn't out drunk driving in November on Thanksgiving night and out violent and dangerous. I'm proud of my son. But they honored and put a hit out on me and endangered my sons and my daughter and call that good. That's false propaganda. The news media is lying to you. The news media is a propaganda for Major Stacey Heatherly. I am the false propaganda. I am the truthful propaganda for the mass populace in the state of Tennessee. That's the truth. Somebody ought to be ashamed of themselves. Drunk driving, violent, could have hit other people and slammed into a tree head on and died of their own doing. A trooper that is out trying to stop that, I'm not ashamed at all. Because I did that, Stacey Heatherly put out a hit on me. So your colonel, your major of the highway patrol put a hit on me. They're decimating the populace in the state of Tennessee. Let's look at some of the stuff that Major Heatherly said. That Major Satterfatter said in a deposition. Here's Major Satterfatter. Major Cheryl Sanders. I call her Satterfatter. A person, I didn't plead guilty to smoking. Listen to that. I've never been convicted of any crime. Never, not one time. I don't plead guilty to anything. That's what they want. They want you to bow down and agree with their falsehoods. That's all false. So here's a testimony. Major Cheryl Sanders swore under oath. She swore under oath to this stuff. And Major Cheryl Sanders called to be a witness. This is court papers. This is their own court papers. This is their own court papers. Was called as a witness, and after having been duly sworn, testified as follows. Major Cheryl Sanders. So she swore under oath. So like, share, comment. Need 15 more likes, reach 100, and subscribe to the show. People in power decimating the government. So she swore under oath to tell the truth. And here's what she said. She said that she watched the pursuit with, and she watched it with Major Stacey Heatherly now, where she wasn't even my supervisor. She wasn't even my supervisor. And she says there was a lot of media covered it, and it would be fair to say that was a lot of talking. And yes, I would say, do you trust Trooper Morgan? And she says, at this point, no. To work in the capacity of a trooper, no. Do you put the police department in bad light? Yes, it did. No, it didn't. When they put the video out to the public, the newspaper didn't even say anything bad about it until she put a false narrative with it. So she's lying about that. It put the department in bad light because it looked, from the media relations it was appearing that he had passed it without rendering aid. People tend to generalize one person with all members. So she's saying it put us out in a bad light. That video, that's a lie. That's what she says. It was appearing that he passed it without rendering aid, generalized, and put all members in a bad light. That's what she said. And the video was out for over a week. This is their propaganda. The video was out for over a week. And people watched it on Channel 10 News, and they released it. No one, the news media, the trooper didn't see it. There was no bad press. It just showed you what happened. That somebody died as a result, and they had left a party drunk. And there was no bad press about me. People knew that, hey, it's off the road in the dark. You didn't see it. And then they wanted people to, oh, he passed a wreck, so people will think that's bad. They used emotion to say, and they told the narrative, called the news and told the news media. No, you don't understand. He saw the wreck. So adding a falsehood. So Major Cheryl Sanders, a criminal with THP, lied on me because the video wasn't bad press. The bad press was what they said about the video. That's called false propaganda, because this is out several weeks before they called the news, because it wasn't getting the bad press that they wanted. It wasn't getting the false propaganda that they want. That's what we're talking about. Their false propaganda that has decimated the state of Tennessee, because the fatality rate skyrocketed since then. This was an incident where a drunk driver killed himself. Happens all the time. Because of their false propaganda, they decimated the state of Tennessee. The fatality rate skyrocketed. Your chances of getting home without a drunk driver, without somebody like him hitting you, have skyrocketed because of her lie. Because now that's the truth. Now they're putting out, and they put a hit on me. We want him killed, and they put my picture out. Major Cheryl Sanders put my picture out. The next show, I'll show you her picture. I won't tell you where she lives. Put my picture out as a hit on me. So that's called false propaganda. And they go through these hoops. You know, we'll get here. We'll get man a hit on him. We'll get him killed. Go over here. Go over there. Go down here. Up here. And you see where we were. We're at hit this now. It's like, how'd you get there? Wait a minute now. That don't make no sense. That's not. This happened, and then this happened. A trooper was in pursuit of a car, lost sight of the car, and when he lost sight of it, the car wrecks, hits a tree. The trooper drives past it because the car's off the road in the dark. That's straight there. No one questioned that until her propaganda. So they lie, and then lie again. That's a lie under oath. She's a criminal. Major Cheryl Sanders. It's not. She ought to go to jail. Her ass ought to go to jail. Her fat ass, I call her Major Satterfield, Major Satterfatter, ought to go to jail. Lying for the department. Lying for the mass decimation of the public. People got killed because of her lie. She's doing just fine. She's getting your paycheck while people are dying out on the road. While her own major now, that was sitting right in the meeting with her, illicitly running a covert operation that continued to conduct this hit on me, got hit by a drunk driver that she calls herself. That's not conspiracy. That's in their own words from their own testimony. The video didn't put a bad light on them. Their narrative, their false propaganda after the fact put a hit out on me, because nobody was upset about that at all. Happens all the time. Troopers are in pursuit of cars that crash all the time. Troopers are involved in bad incidences where people get killed all the time. If they're doing what's right, following the law, acting within the best they can do, there's not a damn thing wrong with it. They're a hero, not what Major Stacy Heatherly did and Captain Satterfatter make a hero out of a drunk driver, which is what she did. Okay. And also, here's what she said. They lie and put evidence where it's not, and put out false propaganda. She said, there are some of the troopers that you heard. I never had any experience with that. You said that you had a lot of talk against troopers that they won't trust Mr. Morgan again. Okay, listen to this. Now, she said, I never heard any of that experience with that. You said that you heard a lot of talk amongst troopers that they wouldn't trust Trooper Morgan again. What are the names of those troopers that you have heard say that? So I would have to go through some at this source. Joe Walker, Danny Thomas, Stacy Heatherly. Hold on, okay. So she says that they need to fire me because I'm out protecting society from a dangerous drunk driver. I mean, let's get it right. Dangerous drunk driver. A violent, dangerous person is a hero now. Now they're standing up for him and trying to fire a trooper that's out risking his life. 4 people got killed in pursuit of drunk drivers. I'm a piece of meat to them. Satterfatter. She's a real thug, a real piece of work. Putting out false propaganda about somebody's risking their life for society. And they get there by spinning things. Now she says she fired me because Joe Walker doesn't trust me. Joe Walker doesn't trust me. Now, let's look at Joe Walker. Let's investigate the investigators. Let's investigate the people who don't like me. She says, Joe Walker doesn't trust me. Well, I don't trust Joe Walker. Joe Walker doesn't trust me because I didn't see a wreck off the side of the road in the middle of the night. Because I was out risking my life. Where the hell was he that night? Why wasn't he risking his life? Because his daddy is also another captain, a higher rank with the highway patrol that got demoted for committing fraud. So I say, I don't trust Joe Walker. Anybody can say anything. Anybody can say anything. Well, there's a spaceship in the sky. They can say, look, there's no spaceship in the sky. But anybody can say anything they want to at any time they want to. That doesn't make it true. So she's saying that Joe Walker doesn't trust him. Why? Why doesn't Joe Walker trust him? Because Joe Walker's a liar. Joe Walker's a dirty thug. Joe Walker's a creep. Joe Walker's a danger. This ain't defamation. Joe Walker, listen, record me, write this down. Tell him Joe Walker is a liar. Joe Walker is not trustworthy. Joe Walker is a Knox County Sheriff's deputy. And that's what I'm saying about it. If he doesn't like it, he's a tough guy. Oh, he's a tough guy. He thinks he's tough. I'm out here, Joe. You come out here. We can sit down and talk. I'm not afraid of you, Joe. You ought to be afraid of your damn dirty lies. You attack somebody that knows what he's doing, boy. Joe Walker, she said Joe Walker doesn't like me. Doesn't trust me. Joe Walker lied in a police report, committed a crime. So Joe Walker doesn't trust me? I don't care if a guy that lies in a police report, lies in an official police report, commits a criminal offense, doesn't like me. I could care less. A lot of criminals don't like me. So Joe Walker, the great deputy sheriff, who's now the great trooper, who's now deputy sheriff, doesn't like me. Let's look at Joe Walker. Joe Walker said in his report, and I've showed it numerous times, a lady looked out her window and saw a car had hit a tree. Miss Darling. That's what he wrote in his report. Signed his name to a police report. The witness said, her narrative says, I looked out my window and I couldn't see anything. That's what she says. But he changes that. He says, he lies in his police report. He says, she looked out her window and saw a car hit a tree. That's a lie. She looked out her window and couldn't see anything. He didn't say that because he wants to make it appear like propaganda in official police report. He wants to make it appear like that the car was clearly visible. They want to make it appear like their propaganda would lead you to believe the car's in the middle of the road. I slam on my brakes and say, oh my gosh, there's a wreck here. I got to get out of here. For what reason, I don't know. I got to get out of here, incriminate myself. Video's on, I know it. And circle around the car and get the hell out of there. And Attorney Garza likes to present that picture too. The outstanding great attorney in Knoxville, who, by the way, tell him, sued me, was on television, the propaganda. Oh, the trooper did wrong, and he's defending a drunk driver that had an excessive alcohol level, a violent man that was a danger to the public, but he's a good, honest attorney. Defending a drunk driver and their family. Hanging out, me and my family. Hey, guards, I'm still here, boy. Yeah, you got your billboards from your money all over the state. I got 1 point coming up on 4 million people ain't going away, and it's called The Truth. You dirty liar, lied in a federal lawsuit that got dismissed. And they're backing up these dirty liars. Trooper, Mr. Garza, the lawyer, they won't let me in the courtroom. They let Garza in there. Yeah. Garza was in the news interviewing, getting all this publicity. Look at me, I'm Garza. I'm getting a lot of publicity, free publicity off me and my children, Garza. Why don't you come out here and let's shake hands, boy? I'm still here. I won't hurt you. If you ever tried to hurt me, I'd defend myself. I will tell you that. You have to aim low. He's a little short fella. I'm just saying, I wouldn't hurt anybody. But these people out here, I got a weapon. It's called a law degree, just like you. And I got something you'll never have, Mr. Garza. I got something called The Truth. It has weight and value, you dirtbag liar. Now, he's getting all this publicity from the news media. And the news media is more than happy to back up the dirty highway patrol and decimate the population in the state of Tennessee. This is what they did. It won't go away. It's called The Truth, and they're making it worse. They need more money to put you in jail. That's what the district attorney's doing. He got on the news, and then when they dismissed his lawsuit, his plaintiff was all by himself. In the video I seen, left him high and dry, had to speak for himself. Garza wasn't there talking for him. He just wanted the publicity. Lied in his legal ruling, said I went down the street and hid. I didn't go down the street and hid. Hide, according to even Major Sanders. I turned off my camera and was following policy after I lost sight of the vehicle. That's the truth. And want to hang me out. Got some bad data, Satter Fatter and Major Heatherly. Sent out a text the other day with her and her, you know, it was a bad text, tried to get it back, Major Heatherly. Hey, I got inside information. I'll put it out. It sent out a text with her and her husband that was half dressed on the text, and then tried to delete it, Major Heatherly. You know, hey, you know, there's a lot of people don't like you. They like truth tellers. I get a lot of good information from a lot of people involved, you know, and stuff. You know, you got eyes on you, and I like a good fight. I mean, you know, you think 13 years makes a difference? I'm fighting for the public. You're fighting for your disgusting self with a banner of a Christian. What a dirtbag you are. Meeting with the captain, talking about somebody that you weren't even over at the time. And you know how she gets by with stuff? There's a proclamation in the government proclamating to leave her alone. They literally have a proclamation in the government with her name on it, a proclamation by, I think it was Yeager, I think he's dead now, but a proclamation by the government with her name on it to leave her alone. Now that's not what it officially says, but who gets a proclamation in the government for your dad and with your name on it, honoring you? It's a proclamation in the government. This person is beyond reproach. He can commit crimes, atrocities, lie, cheat, rob, and steal in her official and unofficial capacity. Leave her alone. She's one of the in-group that has invaded your country and caused mass decimation of your cities and counties in the government. So let's continue looking at Major Stacy Heatherly and what Captain Satterfatter said, that she said Joe Walker doesn't trust me. I don't trust Joe Walker. And also Joe Walker is now, this is how dangerous this is. They decimated your city. This is how dangerous this is. So Joe Walker now works for the Sheriff's Department here in Knox County. Works for the Warrants Department. Works for Warrants. Knox County Warrants hired him after he retired from the Highway Patrol. The Knox County Sheriff's Department under the Christian mayor and Christian governor hired him because he will lie for the establishment that has decimated society and raising the fatality rate. So if you lie for the establishment under oath in official reports, then you don't get sanctioned. You're part of them. They know you'll lie for them. They'll give you another job after you get out of your job where you retire with full benefits with the Highway Patrol, because you lied for them. You'll continue to lie for them, so they know you'll lie for them. So they give you another job with another agency. After he retired from the Tennessee Highway Patrol with probably sergeant's pay, he got on with the Knox County Sheriff's Department, and he lied in a report. The Sheriff's Department killed a man about 2 or 3 miles from my house. The Warrants Department that Joe Walker works in, I'm talking about the decimation of the populist, the fall of our government agencies, the takeover by people in power that have decimated our government. So Joe Walker works for the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department killed somebody about 2 miles from my house. The Warrants Department that Joe Walker works for, the Warrants Department went in somebody's house and killed an 18-year-old person. And if you're the lawyer defending that family, hey, talk to me, I'll tell you. Text them. It's a good lawyer, civil rights lawyer. But Joe Walker, the one that doesn't trust me, lied in a police report. That's not defamation, it's true, it's not false, it's true. Lied in a police report. Misquoted a witness statements, misrepresenting a material fact, wrote it in a police report, signed it, turned it in. They used that against me, even though it's false, because they got the judge's rigged. He works for the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department, the Knox County Sheriff's Department, about 3 miles from my house, killed somebody. They don't have video. They write police reports and said they were justified in what they did. They have somebody that works in the department that lied in a police report. So there are police reports, we don't know if they're good or not, because I know for a fact in the past, I can show you, it's not defamation, it's true, where Joe Walker that works for them lied. So their police report says they did nothing wrong. So they lied before, but they probably told the truth this time, right? I'm just saying, that's pretty serious. When you have a liar in your department that kills somebody, and they write a report that says that it was justified in their killing, do you have to believe what they tell you? No, you don't. And the prosecutor's office declined to prosecute those deputies. They declined to prosecute anybody in the warrants department based on the report. They have no video camera, so we don't know that they say, I believe they do. So they have no video camera, and the prosecutor wants more money so that they can back up more police officers that may or may not lie on reports and incidences where they kill you. That's the decimation of society by people in government power. So let's look at another thing she said. She said that I released the video to the news media. And I did not do that. She said that I released the video to the police, to the news media, without authorization, that I could have. That I could have accused me gaslighting of something the very lady in the office knew about it and probably is the one that released it. Okay, the video. Are you talking about the video to the media? Yes, any information the video that media put out was that decimated by the Department of Safety. The video, to my knowledge, was put out before the Department of Safety released it, to my knowledge. So she's admitting that the video, to my knowledge, was put out before the Department of Safety released it, to my knowledge. It came from the department. So she's admitting that the video was put out before they released it, and it was put out before they released it. There wasn't many people that knew that happened. The only people that knew that there was a pursuit where I was trying to get a driver off the road and unfortunately killed himself was me, my supervisor, Sergeant McDonald, and Major Heatherly, Lieutenant McDonald, and Captain Major Sanders, Major Satterfighter, liar, the creep dope that tried to have me killed, tried to have my kids killed. That's what she did. That's what the government does, try to have you killed. Put my picture out on the front page of the paper. If you think about it, that trooper that ran into another police officer in the motorcade in Maryville, his name's never been released yet. Why not? They don't want him to get killed. They released my name. They don't do that. Usually, they wanted to get me killed. Major Satterfighter wanted to get me killed. That's a fact. She tried to have me killed. She's a dirty person, a sick, pathetic person trying to decimate me. Well, guess what, Major Satterfighter? You didn't get it done. Now I'm putting out the truth about you. Put up your damn white flag. I'm not going away. 1.4 million people. It'll be all over the world. Major Satterfighter is a dirty lying creep that's caused people to get killed. We'll show her a picture. She showed mine. Endangering my children. How dare you endanger my children? How dare you endanger my family? And the Christian governor knows about it. So she said, but you're trying to release that. That's correct. How did that happen? I don't know what happened. I know copies that I had where they went, I do not know. It's possible that Van Morgan, could have made a copy. You could make a copy of your own video, but I don't know. Or that he did not release to the media. So she accuses me gaslighting. That's correct. Did you know? I don't know what happened. I know the copies that I had, where they went. But I did not know. It's possible that Van Morgan, could have made a copy. You can make a copy of your own video, but I did not do that. So she's accusing me of making a copy of that video and releasing it to the news media. That never happened. That's a liar. That's a lie. That's gaslighting. Accusing me of what Major Stacey Heatherly did. She admits that her and Stacey Heatherly watched that video. It's now the Major. Listen to me, troopers. That's how the rules don't matter. They do whatever the hell. That's a rogue organization. It's a dangerous organization. It's an organization designed to decimate the public, to decimate the populace, and present a propaganda, a false story, and present it to the public and kill people. They tried to kill me, tried to have my family killed, put my picture in the front page of the paper saying I killed somebody, which is not true. I'm still here telling the truth about them. So only people that knew were Major Stacey Heatherly, and she wasn't even supposed to know. She wasn't in my chain of command. How did she get in the mix? Wow, real professional organization. No, it's a real propaganda, false propaganda organization. And we're doing something about it, putting out the truth. What they do don't make sense. Why was she in the meeting with Major Sanders, a sergeant in the meeting with Stacey Hendricks, who wasn't in my chain of command? My chain of command was Sergeant Ron McDonald. Why was it Sergeant McDonald and Major Heatherly, Captain Heatherly at the time, looking at the video and talking about it? Why was Major Heatherly? Because Major Heatherly was putting a hit out on me for her buddy. She wasn't even supposed to be there. Major Heatherly is one of the few people that knew about the pursuit. Nobody knew about it. It wasn't released in the video. She was a liaison with the news media. So I believe Major Stacey Heatherly took that video out of the evidence that they accused me of gaslighting, gave it to the news media, gave it to Channel 10. Channel 10 aired the video. I remember sitting at home watching that. And the video just talked about that man dying. Didn't say anything bad about what I did, showed the whole video. There was no narrative put in it, and people thought, well, the car's off the road, didn't see it. People didn't even see it when they were watching the video. There was no bad information, no public outcry, no nothing. A video with a pursuit involving John Pettigo, where a 16-year-old was killed. That video has never been put out. And two people were killed, and an innocent 16-year-old was killed because John Pettigo was negligent. John Pettigo violated the law. In that video, you'll see me violate no law, do nothing wrong at any time whatsoever at all. You'll see them violate the law, change your reports, illegally giving a video to the news media without even admitting to it, and then accusing me of what they're doing, putting a hit out on me. The video was out for several weeks, and then they said, no, you don't understand. You're not going along with the program. There's somebody dead. We can infuriate the public against Trooper Morgan because we're trying to get rid of him because he's out protecting the public. He's putting people from our team, district attorney generals, family members, and lawyers' family members in jail. We got to get rid of him because he's applying the law fairly. So we got to get rid of him. So here's the narrative we want you to put with the video. Here's the narrative. Put this narrative with the video. The narrative is this. Say that he's seen the wreck off the road in the dark. You said, but I know, the witness that called it in, I happened to be awake then, said she looked out her window and couldn't see anything. Trooper Morgan probably couldn't see anything either. He said he didn't see it as a wreck. I know, but lie anyway. It's called propaganda, using the news media. Put that false propaganda out. Let's get him killed. They'd like to got me killed. They tried to, did everything they could to. Came to my house, put me out in the news media. The problem is, you get me killed all you want to. You leave my family alone. You messed up messing with the kids. You leave my damn kids alone, and that's gonna cause you a problem for the rest of your damn sorry, sick ass lives. Put your white flag up. It's home. You leave my family alone. Praising the family of a drunk driver. He goes to schools, talks at schools, tries to convince little children not to drink and drive. My son did it, so you don't do it. How about getting somebody to go to schools? My kids are in their 30s. I raised them, and they never got convicted of drunk driving, and they never did. They drive sober, teach them to drive sober. Using somebody that their kid was violent, could have killed somebody. What if somebody was on the way to the hospital? Taking your children to the hospital, somebody coming home from work, and that violent, dangerous man, not a violent, dangerous trooper, The trooper slowed down for a red light, didn't hit anybody, didn't do anything wrong. But the violent, dangerous, dirty trooper, wait a minute now, the trooper didn't do nothing wrong. Trooper's out fighting wrong. Could have been hurt. The troopers fighting wrong today against their dirty lies. Under oath, they're criminals. They've decimated your society and caused people to continue to get killed to this day by false propaganda. They decimated this state, decimated this country under a Christian banner. And that's part of their lies. And we can beat them through putting out truthful propaganda like I've done today. Look how many people got on here. Got over 100 people still in here. I even got a donation. Thank you, whoever that was that gave the donation. I appreciate that. Keep us on the channel. So obviously not everybody's listening to the baloney. So let's get 100 likes. We got 95. I bet we busted 30,000 today putting out truthful propaganda. So the way we can, and all the hearts and love, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much. Unbridled news, the truth. We're fighting against people that have invaded our government agencies. They've fallen to invaders. And the invaders are still wanting more money to prosecute you, to put you in jail. The jails are busted. If they were getting put in jail, they wouldn't want new jails. So let's start putting some prosecutors in jail. Let's have political candidates be able to go in every county in Tennessee and campaign for office without a dirty, rotten attorney putting them in jail. And we don't have a Tennessee like that right now. We're invaded by Russians. Symbolically, we're invaded by the billionaires, by rich, elite power mongers that have taken over our nation, that have invaded our country. And our lane right now is wide open because people are losing confidence. And I'm promoting the truth, and if the truth makes you lose confidence, then so be it. Because you should not have confidence in your government agencies. They're not serving you. They're serving themselves. They're doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. They've invaded our government offices. They've invaded our country, invaded our nation, taken over, and they are extrapolating power and influence and your money, making it hard for you to leave. And we need to fight them at the polls, and our lane is clear. If you look at both sides, they're nervous as hell about winning elections. In Tennessee, there's a governor's race in 2026. Marsha Blackburn is the leading contender. They know that power starts at the state level. Marsha Blackburn can go in any city, in any county in the state of Tennessee and campaign for the governorship of the state of Tennessee. I don't know who the Democrats running are, but they can go in any city and county and campaign in the state of Tennessee. Ukrainian soldiers cannot go in any city in Ukraine. They're not allowed to because they've been invaded by Russian soldiers. Russian soldiers have decimated some of the cities. Similarly, I'm not allowed to go in some cities in the state of Tennessee to campaign for governor if I decided to run, because they have been invaded, taken over by rogue prosecutors, rogue people in the state of Tennessee. And if I do, they will violently beat me up and put me in jail and lie on me. Now that's a problem. That's a problem not just for me, that's a problem for you. And the way we can combat that is to vote these dirtbags out of office, vote these invaders out of our positions of authority and power in the government. That's our lane, is to tell the truth, go right down the middle. Our lane is to point out the invaders, the government corruption, the government violation of our constitutional rights, the people in power, government crimes. People in government power have committed crimes against us, and they continue to commit crimes against us. And if you go to your grocery store and you try to buy milk and bread, that's not by accident that stuff is more expensive. It's because people in government power are taking more of your money to use the government power to work against you. They have invaded our country. They are using illegal immigrants, giving them legal status to vote out people in America with birth certificates. And it's getting worse and worse. If we don't act now, we won't have a country. We will not have a country. And this next election is very important in the state of Tennessee. And we also have a judicial election with Mary Beth Lubowitz. Vote these people out of office because they're the ones, the people in the judiciary, giving them legal status. So like, share, comment. If you like this message, subscribe to the channel. The government hates the truth. The government hates this message. They got their propaganda machine. It's called judicial rulings. They've got their propaganda machines. It's called depositions. They've got their propaganda machines. It's called the news channels. The fake, false, lamestream news channels. And the news channels know that they're being questioned. They know people are sitting back and thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't sound good. That don't make much sense. They're starting to get a little clue. Because you'll see on the news channels, every damn one of them has a commercial combating the fact that people don't trust us anymore. So they put out commercials that tell, all the news channels are saying, our news is honest. Our news is truthful. Why do they have to say that? They have to say that because people don't believe that. So they lie to you. 101 likes. Thank you all. They have to say our channel's honest journalism. We have honest anchors. Every one of the news media's putting out commercials. Listen to the commercials. Why are they putting out commercials like that? It's called propaganda. It's because they're lying to you. So they have to put out a commercial saying, we're telling you the truth. If you want to be treated with dignity and respect, you don't demand that you be treated with dignity and respect. You don't demand and tell people that you're telling the truth, believe me. You simply tell the truth. You simply act in a respectable, dignified manner, and what follows is respect, dignity, and people believe what you say. It's kind of simple, isn't it? So why do they have to say, we're putting out the truth? Show us the truth you're putting out. Show us the truth you're putting out. Don't tell us you're telling the truth. You can say, there's a spaceship up there. Look, there's a spaceship. Look. Oh, there's a spaceship. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute now, there's no spaceship up there. But I said it was, so it's got to be true just because I said it, right? Just because I say all these news channels, look at their commercials. That's so funny. We have honest journalism. There's a spaceship up there. No, you don't, and there's no spaceship up there. You can say anything you want to. Anybody can say anything they want to at any time. I mean, I can say I can fly. Donkeys fly. And there's some people that believe it. I might be able to paint a picture in the sky and put a donkey in there and people believe it because I painted it up there. But let me tell you something, this might be alarming. This might shock the hell out of a few people, but donkeys can't fly. They can't. I hate to bust your bubble. And when they tell you a story that doesn't make sense and they put out a commercial on all the local news channels that say, we're telling you the truth. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're lying. You don't have to put out a commercial that says we're telling you the truth. Just tell the truth. It's real simple. And start telling the truth. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Everything I say, I'll back up with truth. Let's look at the beautiful scenery here. Thank y'all so very much for joining me. I appreciate the contribution. Keep this news channel live. Our lane is talking about public corruption, speaking truth to power. There's a hospital decimated. That's the Russian invasion right there. Russian invasion of America, but not Russian people in power invasion. Decimated a hospital. That hospital's not there anymore. Build it where rich people live. There's the crooked courthouse. But let's enjoy the beautiful view. So we've already got a contribution. If you can give some money, give it. I appreciate it. thank you, whoever gave that money. Thank you so very much for the contribution, not listening to the lies. There's a beautiful view. This is my pulpit, the beautiful Gay Street Bridge, standing on a public sidewalk, First Amendment in the United States of America, which is a beautiful thing. I love this country. I love the rights that we have. Being able to stand on a public sidewalk, speaking against people in power in our government, holding this sign to you, which is I love you. I love America. I love this free country. But we're losing it. We're being invaded. We're being invaded by people that don't love this country, that aren't even from here, that don't have a birth certificate here. And we need to fight the hell out of them. We need to stop. We need to get in power and stop giving these illegal people that come over here illegally, stop giving them immigration status, stop giving them more votes than we have, stop them from bringing their country over here, their way of life over here, their country in America that belongs to Americans, that belongs to us. It's our country. It's our children's country. Our children after our country. It's not their country. They're getting positions of power for votes, trading position of power for votes. And both parties are doing it. So let's take our lane. Remember, vote. Voters of Tennessee enraged. Voters of truth enraged. Let's take our lane, go right down the middle. It's wide open now. People don't trust government agencies. People don't trust what they're saying. People don't trust the news. You can say all day long, we got honest journalists. Till you start telling the truth, people don't care what you say. When you say there's a spaceship in the sky and there's not one, you can say all day long you're a truth teller all you want to, but people ain't gonna believe a damn word you say. When you start telling the truth and it measures up with reality, you don't have to put out a commercial that says I'm telling the truth. You just keep telling what you're telling, the truth. If you keep putting out false propaganda that backs up people in power that are closing down hospitals and making children die, that are raising your cost of food, if you keep saying that these people are good people that are doing all this, these atrocities that are decimating America, you keep doing that and people ain't going to believe a damn word you say. They're just not. They're not. I'm a truth teller. I am a leader of vote, a civil rights movement for the populace of America, of Americans. I'm on the sidewalk. I'm not in the government offices. I've been there. I don't like it. They don't run things right. I don't agree with them. I agree with nothing that they do. I think that they need to be in jail, a lot of them. I think they need to be hauled off to jail. There needs to be a special prosecutor's office to punish these people and put them in jail behind bars. The people that are raping our system, decimating our country. So thank y'all so very much for joining me. We'll be back on here probably Monday. If we have news during the week, something comes up that I can get to, I'll go boots on the ground and show you the news live from wherever it's at and tell you the truth, not what the government tells you to believe, not what people in power tell you to think. I'm not going to tell you, I'll give you their spin and tell you why it's false probably. I'm going to tell you boots on the ground, the truth about it, and what will help you and represent your interest, because the people in government power are same as Russian soldiers. They represent Russia's interests that are invading a foreign country that are doing wrong. So these people in government power are invading our country and mistreating us and doing wrong. They're violating your constitutional rights and wanting more money to do it. This attorney's office asking for more money to put more people in jail falsely while they're lying under oath to do it. So what we can do about it, join vote, voters of Tennessee enraged. If you live in another country in another state in Tennessee, voters of truth fight the propaganda, the false information, the lies, the deceit. You know, this isn't a Christian show. I have a Christian perspective, but I'm going to tell you a video. Okay, yeah, that people will be lovers of themselves, liars, deceitful, and that's exactly what's going on now, because our government agencies are lying like hell. They lie. Every time, you know, you can tell if they're lying when they're opening their mouth. And I'm talking about people in government power. People in government power are lying. Not your rogue citizen out here that is much less dangerous than the prosecutors that are wanting more money. So, like this video, share this video, subscribe, join the movement. Thank you for the contributions. Keep the channel on the air. And send a copy of this message to people in government in Tennessee power. Let's show them. We're not taking this anymore. We're not putting up with this. We're not putting up with your lies. We're not putting up with your propaganda. And we have went all over the state of Tennessee. I have been in every city, in every county in the state of Tennessee, at least once, some of them 2 and 3 times. If you don't believe me, look at that's not false propaganda. I don't bear false witness, they do. If you don't believe me, look at my Facebook page. It's on the link. Click my Facebook page, look at the pictures. But propaganda is false. I got evidence. I took my picture beside every single county sign, like Knox County, that's where I'm at now. You'll find a sign, me beside a sign that says Knox County. You'll find a sign that says me beside Blount County. You'll find a sign, it's not photoshopped, it's a real sign where I went to Davison County, Nashville. Stood beside a sign, said Davison County. Took my picture. I'm standing right there, boots on the ground, live, real truth. Went to every county in the state of Tennessee, more than any politician in the whole state that's ever run for public office has ever done. I went to Memphis, Shelby County, all the way across the state from Knoxville. Went to Shelby County, stood beside a sign. You'll see it on my Facebook page. Took a picture of me standing beside the sign. It's called evidence. Stood there beside a sign, took my picture, took a selfie, and sometimes other people took a picture of me standing beside a sign that says Shelby County. My feet's there, I'm really there. I'm not one of these fake politicians that gets on TV and says I've been to every county in the state. I went there. I went to Shelby County 3 times all the way across the state. Knocked on doors in Shelby County. In Shelby County, I got more votes in Shelby County, percentage-wise, and got more votes in Shelby County. I love you, Shelby County, than any county in the state of Tennessee. So I appreciate y'all. And I got a little over 1,800 votes. So let's just give up the fight. They've decimated us. People in public power have decimated us. Let's just give up. Hell no, we won't go. I'm not giving up the fight. Not now. Or ever will I give up the fight for people in the state of Tennessee, for your rights, for the Constitution. I won't give up the fight that every single person in this state, in this country, every single citizen in this state has a constitutional right that protects them from all the power of the massive, mighty government in the state of Tennessee. That they can't step over your rights. You don't have to have a missile or a weapon or a big billfold. You've got an inalienable right. That means nothing can take it away. to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, no matter who you are or how powerful the government is. Now, they don't honor those rights. I'm telling you, they don't honor them. They lie to you with false propaganda and tell you that they do. I've just showed you some of their false propaganda. They don't honor those rights. They don't like you. They don't want you here. They want you dead. People in government power want your money. If you don't have any money, they want you dead and gone. If you don't believe that, why are they closing down hospitals for? Because who goes to the hospital? People that are about to die. If you don't have anything, you're about to die, they want your money. They want you gone out of here. They want people that are good and healthy, and they don't want hospitals to keep people alive in their old age. They want you dead. They got hospitals, but they want you dead because they don't want you here. They want you walking on sidewalks and riding on bicycles. They don't want you driving cars. They want the roads for themselves. They have decimated this state. They have infiltrated our government power with rogue, dirty lies and propaganda that is false. And they've got their propaganda machine in high gear, and they tell a lie with an amplifier, with using your money, and the amplifier is the lamestream news. The amplifier is government rulings. The amplifier is any interview you ever hear with any government official. It's propaganda that's false. They're lying to you. They're lying to you about everything all the time, trying to perpetrate the belief that they're in power to protect you and help you when they could care less about you. They want you dead. They put out a hit on me for saying how rogue they are. They had me arrested and beat up for running for public office because I'm not running to represent the people in power that are cheating you. I'm running to represent you. I'm speaking truth to power, and that's not truth to them. I could care less what they say. I know what they say, and I don't want to hear what they say. I'm not listening to their false propaganda. I'm speaking truth to power. I'm speaking truth to you. You are the real power. And that's why they're afraid. That's why they want me to shut up, because they know that I'm getting out the truth. They fear the truth. They fear them being exposed because they're not operating the government in your benefit. And they're afraid now more than ever because it's starting to show up at the grocery store, because they've raped the government so much that they have to raise taxes, that they've ruined the economy. People in government power have ruined the economy. The economy's not ruined on its own, and the mass populace of citizens, you haven't ruined the economy. You're hardworking, dedicated people, or if you're not hardworking, you're elderly and you've worked hard all your life, or you can't find a damn job because of what people in power have done. You're not responsible for the economy, for the way things are right now. That's not your fault. And it didn't happen by chance. Things don't happen by chance. There's organization and design to things. And the reason the economy, affordability, skyrocketed, the reason you can't find a hospital in the state of Tennessee is by organization and design. It's because people in government power have closed them down, refused to take free money to open them up, because they don't help them and they don't want you to stay alive. That's the reason. It's because people in government power have rigged it, organized it that way. And they have infiltrated and taken over this country and decimated it for you. And as soon as they completely decimate it, and as soon as they get complete control with foreigners and with people voting for them, then they're going to rebuild it, just like Russia will. There won't be hospitals for you. There will be mass, huge, beautiful buildings for only the small billionaires to live in. There will be beautiful, beautiful streets for them to drive on, and sidewalks for you to walk on, and bicycle trails for you to pedal your bicycle on. And you won't be allowed to drive a car, but they will. They will rebuild Tennessee, rebuild America for the powerful elite, and you'll pay for what they're doing to you. And they'll do it by telling you every day, all day, with their false, fake propaganda that they're doing it all for you. So help them God. They'll say it under oath and brag about it and have their private meetings and have their conversations behind closed doors where they work all this fake stuff out. And that's what they're doing to you. All day, every day, the fake news. They record their lies, blast them out on the news. They record their lies and blast them out on YouTube. Talk about how good they are and what good they're doing for you. And they're no good for you. And the public now, the political landscape, is we can make a difference. I went all over the state of Tennessee. Got 1,800 votes. I could give up, but I'm not giving up. We'll get more votes than that. That's the reason. That's the reason that this channel has 1.4 million people. I'm predicting it today. I've talked to 1.4 million people, coming up on 1.5 million people, because of the message that I'm putting out against people in state power that have decimated our state, decimating our country with false propaganda. And I'm telling you the truth. So, here's what we do. Here's what we do. This scares the hell out of them. Scares them. Get up. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. And go vote. Who to vote for? We'll see. There's a governor's race coming up in Tennessee. And we'll look at some of the other elections. Our core values aren't going away, even if they're not popular. Even if we got to vote for somebody that's not the best, that's the best of the worst. But we're gonna put pressure on them. We're gonna put public pressure on them. There's a hell of a lot more than us in them. There is 76% of the eligible population in Tennessee didn't even vote. Now, Mr. Burchett is standing up and telling Republicans, people going to church, hardworking people, Christian people, didn't go vote. So go vote. So go vote. And if we vote, then we don't even need the whole 76%. We can get, if we flip a few of their votes, all we need is 22% of the people that didn't vote. That means what, 82% we don't even need that didn't vote. We're going to leave all those voters on the table. No, we're not going to. We're going to contact every voter in the state of Tennessee. We're going to continue to go across the state of Tennessee and campaign legally and legitimately, except we're not going to Chattanooga. I'm not going there. Unless the Cody Womp, the dirty prosecutor, writes me a letter and tells me I'm welcome in the state in Chattanooga. I'm not going there to get beat up. It's pretty alarming. You can't go campaign anywhere you want to. So if you live in Chattanooga, share this video in Chattanooga, because I'm not allowed to put my boots on the ground there, because Russian soldiers, Cody Womp's prosecutor's office won't let me. They put me in the hospital because I'm saying vote them out. They're saying don't vote him in. Don't listen to him, and not only not doing that, which they can say that. They say it all day long. Saying I'm a bad person. That's fine. Go ahead and say that. But then they're doing stuff illegal. They're trying to hurt me physically. Already tried to kill me. Look at the screenshot. Very clear what their propaganda wants against me. They've invaded and decimated our state and country, closing down hospitals, making you pay for them working against you. And that's dangerous as hell. And if we don't get up and start fighting now, we will lose this state and this country forever. It won't ever come back. We'll be outvoted by people coming from other countries. There are people in power now, and you can tell by their mugshots, that are trying to fight for this country, I believe. I believe that they are. Now, some of them maybe not exactly right, but I'm not saying that every person in public power is wrong trying to decimate this country. I'm saying that most of them are. Some of the cities have fallen. The state of Tennessee barely kept some sanity in the last election. Barely. And we can bring even more sanity and more power to the populace than even the Republican Party. There's some good people in the Republican Party in office. There are. I'll be lying to you if I said that. People misinterpret what I say sometimes. But there are some people in public power that are good people, that are fighting. You can tell by their mugshot. Look at politicians that have mugshots. Some of them have mugshots because they did wrong. Some of them have mugshots because they're fighting for what's right. Because people in power hate them. They wish they hadn't got there. They got there doing what I'm doing. Telling the truth. It's not hard to tell the truth. It's real simple. It's real simple. Even makes you feel good. Even makes you not afraid. Because someday you got to stand before God. And if you bear false witness, you're going to be held accountable. I'm not ashamed of anything I've said. I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed of anything I did while they accused me of doing something wrong. I'm proud of it. I did right. They did wrong. They did wrong. Like my mother used to say, don't let might beat right. And might won't beat right if you keep on keeping on speaking out, keep on telling the truth. There are people, and I'm going to say this might be unpopular for a lot of members of this channel, and I appreciate every single one of you. May God bless you, I pray. I'll pray for you right now. May God bless all the subscribers in this channel and help them to know the truth and help them to become Christians if they're not, accept the Lord Jesus Christ. But it's your choice. But there are a lot of people in the Democratic Party that aren't left-wing, right-wing lunatics, that aren't off base about everything. There are a lot of good people in the Democratic Party. That's the truth. You know, a lot of my subscribers not want to say that, but not every Democrat is a lying, dirty, babbling, propagandist idiot in government power. They're not. They're not. Some of their core beliefs I don't go along with. I'll have to admit that. And I could not vote for some of them that have some core beliefs that I don't have. But there are some Democrats that want to tell the truth and provide for public safety and are not a part of this mass decimation of American populace, American society. And I thank them for that. That is good. So if you're a Democrat, this is still a good channel for you. If you believe in truth and right and you don't agree with the propaganda, the falsehoods, the lies, the cheating, robbing, stealing, the mass incarceration of the populace wrongfully, if you don't believe in perjury and lies by people in power, if you don't believe in them, people in government power, us serving and worshiping and making everything good for them at your expense, then you're on the right channel. It's not about party. It has very little to do with party. There's one party that I have more basic beliefs in than the other. That is the Republican Party. I think they're right about a lot of things, and some of their core beliefs I believe in, but I would vote for the right Democrat. If the right Democrat coming along had the right core beliefs as me, I'd vote for them too. It's not about party. It's about their false propaganda. It's about their false, dirty lies. It's about them mistreating the public, the populace. It's about the evil things that they do. It's about ignoring their crimes, ignoring what they do wrong, and putting innocent Tennesseans and innocent civilians and innocent people in jail. And it's about the affordability problem that is rigged, caused by people in power. And if we get in office, if we vote, then we can get the cost of living down. We can limit the federal government to as small as it can be. We can get the state government engine. We can get that state government engine as small and efficient as possible. And the people that run that engine, that are part of that engine that's supposed to serve society, the only thing that they need to do is be doing what serves citizens. They don't need to be getting rich and having unlimited power and be benefiting from public service. That's wrong. That's not government. That's self-service. And we can change that very easily if people wake up. Both parties are scared. We got a lane to drive right through it, a lane with the truth, a populist lane, a lane that says to the people, we're telling you the truth. We're gonna dispel the falsehoods. We're gonna stop their continued decimation of the populace, and we're gonna rule, and we're gonna run the government as small as possible. People in the government don't get rich, and we're gonna make the populace rich, and we're gonna make it fair. Everybody in society is gonna have an equal chance, just not people with their last names or people with a big billfold are not gonna buy our public power. That's not right. That's not legitimate. That decimates our citizenry. So thank you all for showing up. I probably had the biggest show that I've ever had since I've been on YouTube. So I don't know what I've said that struck a nerve, but whatever it is, I'm glad I said it, and it's the truth. But thank you all so very much for showing up. Let me get a few more likes and subscribes and shares. And I certainly appreciate y'all listening to this channel. May God bless every one of y'all, I pray. We're going to be out, and look at my Facebook page. We've already been out all over the state. We're going to go out some more as long as we get funding and God provides, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll be out in force, in power, continue to do what we can do. I don't look at the vote count. You know, I don't look at all that. The low vote count, and somebody mentioned that to me the other day. I don't answer the naysayers. I don't have time to fool with stupid. It's irrelevant. I'm not answering to why something's true, and I'm not answering to a lie and trying to argue that they're lying about something. I'm not going to do that most of the time unless I want to. It's unproductive. And but some person said that I only got 1,800 votes. And that's true, I did. I only got 1,800 votes. I got votes in every county in the state of Tennessee, except one. And that was the one I went to early. And I got a lot of votes from Shelby County. Thank y'all, Shelby County. Great people in Shelby County. Great people in Knox County. And I got low votes in my last election I ran here in Knoxville in city council. And you think, well, that's a bad sign. No, it's not. It's not a bad sign. And I'm not saying I'm running for governor. I may, I don't know. Click my link and let me know what you think. But I may. I very well may. And the fight's on if I do. But I'm not saying I'm running because I'm not going along with their program where I got to report all donations. I don't have to do that now because I'm not running. But if I do run, I'll let you know. And I may not. I may endorse another candidate. So if you're a candidate run for governor, then you might want my endorsement. But I haven't gotten a lot of votes, and that's a good sign. People say, well, that's not a good sign. That's a bad sign. No, it's a good sign. There are people, and let me explain it to you. There are people who have committed felonies, ignored the rule of law, a fair rule of law, not something bogus like running for public office and got arrested because I obeyed the rule of law then. There are people, and that was dismissed. I've never been convicted of any crime. Not that I won't, they might bring up a bogus charge, but there are people that ran for the city election here, that committed a felony, They've refused to stop at a valid traffic stop. Police behind them, blue lights, marked car, and they wouldn't stop. Now, I mean, would you stop? I mean, they shouldn't do that. That's not right. That's wrong. That's bad conduct. You shouldn't vote people like that in public office. They're not going along with the rule of law. They think they're better than everybody else. And there's a person that ran in the Knoxville City Council election. Now, they didn't win the election, but they got more votes than me in their county. I'm not sure comparatively. They got more votes than me, and they're a criminal. And I didn't get many votes. Why would they get more votes than me? Because people in government power, the people that run the mass false propaganda machines, aren't worried about them. They're not worried about them. They ain't got to destroy them. They got to say bad stuff about them, and they didn't. They were worried about me because I'm telling the truth about them. They're worried about my truthful propaganda. It might catch on. So they use a lot of money, power, and lies, and media lies to try to dismantle and destroy me. And it worked to some extent. Lies work. They work. That's propaganda works if it's false. But the truth still has weight and value. So that's the reason why I didn't get many votes, because I'm the truth teller. And the low number of votes, with my reputation, knowledge, and education, my truthful speaks volumes that I didn't get many votes with who I am and what I stand for. I stand for the Constitution. I stand for truth and right. The low number of votes with my life, the way I have lived and risking my life for public safety, I led the whole state of Tennessee in drunk driving arrests, is astonishing that I don't get more votes than that. The reason I don't get more votes, and people who ran for governor were racist. There was a white supremacist that got more votes than me. A white supremacist. I'm not a white supremacist. He got more votes than me. How did that happen? I'll tell you how it happened. The government wasn't worried about him. They left him alone. They know he's not going to win. They know it doesn't matter. He's not speaking out against them. So they leave him alone. Sure, he gets more votes than me. They're hammering me with lies. Why aren't they hammering him? They don't care about him. He's not going against them. So the reason I'm not getting more votes is because the state's not worried about a white supremacist. The state's worried about a truth teller. There was a black supremacist. Now, she doesn't say she's a black supremacist, but she's a black supremacist. She hates white people, I think. They got a lot more votes than me. Came in second in the race. How'd that happen? Because the government's not worried about her. If she got elected, she'd be on board with the elite, be on board with a bunch of lies, be on board with a bunch of propaganda, be on board with what the government's for, is to put one race above another race. It's a race war, and she's on the right side of the race war as far as the government is concerned. I'm not on the right side of the race war. I don't believe that you should have special rights because of the pigment color of your skin. I think that white people are being discriminated against to a large extent. I'm not white supremacist. A lot of black people know that too. Now, I love all people. I love white people, black people. But just because of the color of your skin, you shouldn't have more rights than other people. The people that have more rights are the people in government power. That's the ones that get more rights. It's not a color of their skin. They're black, white, whatever color. They're foreigners. And it's the people have more rights. So the reason that I didn't get more votes is because I'm more of a truth teller. You got to think about it. If I'm a Republican or a Democrat liar, propagandist, false, put out fake stuff that's not true, put out stuff that I'm acting like I'm for the populace, but I'm really not, I'm going to get a lot of votes. If I came out from under the bridge and agreed to kiss the ring of the Republican and Democrat, I'd get a lot of votes, especially if I won their nomination, if I was slick, nice, and kind, and pretty, and telling you all kinds of lies and what I'm going to do for the economy. And on the ticket of the liars, they know I'm lying. They know I'm putting out false propaganda, but they know I'm popular. I'm going to get a lot of votes because they're not going to hammer me. They're not going to try to destroy me. They're not going to arrest me. They're not going to beat on me. They're not going to put a hit out on me. They're not going to lie in court documents. They're not going to commit fraud and perjury because I'm for them. I'm not for the populace. I'm for them. They want somebody in the office that will help them decimate the populace. And if I do that, if I agree to help decimate the populace and keep people in power, then they wouldn't bother with me. Even if I wasn't going to win, I'd get a lot of votes because they're not going to try to destroy my character and credibility. But somebody like me, that's out here honestly, at my own expense, in my own danger, for the mass populace, for you, speaking for citizens in the United States of America, telling you, as you know, they have decimated your state and your country. People in power have done that. They have invaded us. And they're continuing to invade us with foreigners, giving them valid legal status, trying to get around the deportations, giving them legal status by the hundreds every day, so ICE can't deport them, trying to make this country a world country. And it shouldn't be a world country. This is America. You need to be American to be here, or stand up for this country. Then if I stood for what they're trying to tell you, if I got on their bandwagon and lied to you and told you people in power are good people and they're working on the economy and they're not giving people legal status illegally and everything's wonderful and everything's beautiful in the party, and I run down the other party, I run down the Republican if I'm a Democrat, or I run down the Democrat if I'm Republican, then they'd leave me alone. And even if I wasn't going to win, I'd get a lot of votes. But the person that gets on here that works against their mass machine that puts out truthful, false propaganda, they'll get that in operation against a truth teller like me, and that's why I'm getting low votes. But the thing is, keep doing what you're doing. Keep telling the truth. Have faith in the fact that the truth, and I can even prove it, has weight and it has value, and don't stop. And keep telling the truth. Keep trying to get it out, and it will get out, and it will make a difference. I believe and have hope in that. I have hope in ultimate good and faith in mankind, and I have faith in God, and I'll keep telling the truth, and we'll keep telling the truth. So help me do this. Join vote, voters of truth and rage. Voters of truth. I'm just telling the truth. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and watch the channel. Friends calling friends beats bought elections, beats this massive takeover. And call your legislator. Tell them what I'm telling about them. and spread the message. Let's get the fight on. Let's get the fire going. We got a lane wide open. Both sides are scared as hell of somebody like us coming along telling the truth. And we can do this thing. So thank y'all so very much. Like, subscribe, comment, and share the message. Friends calling friends beats bought elections. Until next time, God loves you, and I do too.